Good morning, dear all. On behalf of Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology and Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, we welcome you all to this webinar, Intellectual Property Rights. As you all are aware, Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology is organizing the webinar series on various things as a part of celebration of 75th Independence Day under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Vigyan Utsav, which is a festival of science. So since from last 11 months, we have been organizing this webinar on various themes. And this is the last theme of the series, that's on IPR. So with this, I request our Executive Secretary, Mr. Hemant Kumar sir, to give a brief introduction about the webinar and importance of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Over to you, sir. Sir.
Yeah, very good morning. I think very happy that the past 12 months that we have been organizing this webinar series on Vigyan Utsav under this 75th year of independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We've come a long way, starting from STI institutions. We looked at science, technology, innovation institutions, how they functions, what do they have, and where do we go from here. Then we looked at human capacity the second month, and followed up with R&D infrastructure. R&D infrastructure is crucial for us now because we are trying to set up a central instrumentation facility so that multiple institutions or multiple innovators or faculty or students can use it, because some of them are quite expensive in that sense. Okay, quite expensive. The equipments are quite expensive, so it's better that we have a centralized infrastructure also as well. So then after that, we worked on indigenous technologies. Indigenous technologies, I think you're very well aware that we have certain technologies that our forefathers, our earlier generation have used, and they used it successfully over a period of time. But over a period of time, because of the new technologies coming into picture, so the old or indigenous technologies sometimes lose out. So what we try to look at is that these indigenous technologies, which we have at some point of time, can we make it relevant today, even now? How do we do it? By applying science technology principles today to the indigenous technologies. We try to make it relevant today and get the best out of it. So there are many such technologies which the council and also Indian Institute of Science through its one of its departments, that is Center for Sustainable Technologies. I think we successfully did some of the technologies that shows that it's possible to revive some of the indigenous technologies. Priyanka,
Ha, sir.
can you stop that admitting process, because it always gives a beep sound? It disturbs quite a bit.
Okay, sir.
I think for a minute you wait, because everyone tries to come in. Otherwise, it continuously comes in, right?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we stop for some time and then we'll ask them to actually log in again, okay?
Okay, sir. Sure.
Because it disturbs quite a bit. Yeah.
Ha.
ಅದು ಸೌಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತಪ್ಪಿಸ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ.
Stuck ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, sir.
Stop ಮಾಡಿ, okay. See, the next one is startup ecosystem. We looked at how science technologies that gets into startups. I mean, how do you make sure that you create a startup ecosystem wherein the innovator or people would like to start a small company. How do you support them by providing them real estate, that is the place to work, and maybe water supply, power, other infrastructure, and including funding, including mentoring, including incubation. So how do we go about doing it? That's one of the things which we did in the startup ecosystem. Then we looked at science communication, because science communication is one of our weak link, because we always believe that unless you communicate well to the people about the achievements of science technology and the relevance of it, relevance of all the R&D institutions, people will not be in favor of the scientists. So we need to communicate well what we do and how it affects their life. So that's we did, and it's well received. Then we went into the woman scientist, because we would the vision of government of India and all the states is to increase the uh, number of women participating in science. So we would like to see them more. So how can you do that? That's we brought in good number of eminent women scientists and their achievements that was shown to them. And we also tried to, under many programs, we tried to make their number increase. That's what we do. Then we look at the science and society, how we can communicate science to society. That's one of the things was very interesting. Because science should look at the societal problems and works towards solving it. That's what science and society is about. Then the future technologies we looked into. Future technology is one thing where we believe that certain issues that are going to crop up, kind of the kind of technologies that's going to be relevant, and how India and the states could cope up with it. Then we looked at innovations, then translation research, then industry for our Atmanirbhar Bharat, and today is intellectual rights. I think this is it's going to be quite a good culmination, right? So we started something and we're ending up here. Now I have a small presentation to make. I'll just share it with you. Okay. Priyanka, is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible. The slideshow. Yes, sir.
Is it visible now?
No, sir. Now it's went. Sir.
No, I'll just do it once again, right?
Yes, sir. Dear participants, kindly switch off all your, please.
Is it visible now, Priyanka?
Yes, sir. It's on presentation mode, sir.
I think it's okay now. I can continue.
Okay.
Okay. So just a brief about my council and what we do here. I think in councils, I think we are one of the councils is set up in academic institutions. This the one of the few councils started way back in 1975, basically to look into converting whatever that research that happens in the laboratories to the field. Basically, we look at lab to lab. Basically, it works like this. I mean, we do the user need assessment from the council, and we look at issues in several sectors, key sectors. Then we list out all the issues that crop up and what could be the solutions for it. And we look at new ideas for that. And the new ideas, actually now we work on science and technology applications to the new ideas, and we develop products and services. Basically from user need assessment, then you go up to identifying issues, then the idea to solve the issue, then looking at application of S&T to that, then converting into products and services. That's what we do. And fortunately for us, it is working well since 47 years now. So over the period of time, I think many such technologies that council has disseminated in a large scale in association with Indian Institute of Science and other R&D institutions, with the support of both state and central governments. We are grateful to both the state and central government for providing us ample support to disseminate in a large scale. The earlier technologies were energy efficient stoves. It could be biogas, it could be wind, solar, it could be, solar pans. There are many such technologies which we evolved at that time. Then recently, some of the technologies are listed here which we are working on. We work on use of GIS and remote sensing for decision making, informed decision making. We've been supporting all the line department, that is the development departments working at both the state and district level using technology through our program, that is National Resource Data Management System program. I think we also do action plan for each of these departments, then for all their physical and financial progress of their work. I think I should be, I just want to tell you that ours is the first state to prepare action plan using GIS and remote sensing. So we have prepared the action plan for close to 15 departments using GIS and remote sensing. Then we have we had a project that is on village information system, which basically focused at preparing village maps using the current technology. That's what we did there. Then we have this Karnataka Geo portal where we provide GIS information through internet. And fortunately for us, we also have Karnataka GIS today, which is quite a large investment made in the state for providing online services to citizens of the state through Karnataka GIS, which is actually developed by our other sister department, that is Karnataka State Remote Sensing Application Center. Then my colleague also, they do a lot of digital heritage. I think they have mapped both the almost close to 70% of the state archaeological sites using 3D laser scanning technologies. I think probably this is the only one of its kind in India, that is laser scanning. Then we have this rainwater harvesting from a small idea, I think in about 2 decades back. Now it has come a long way from a small idea. So the idea was, can we collect the water that falls on the roof and store it and use it? That's the idea, because we have a severe shortage of potable water in the city of Bangalore. So that is the idea. So it required some simple technology that was done. But more than the idea and the technology, it's also the intent of the government that is most important. The government should realize that there is a problem and they need to come out with new guidelines to resolve it. We are fortunate that the state government takes utmost importance to all these things, and they came up with a RW rainwater harvesting policy in 2009. KSCST assisted the policy in a big way. And after that, I think it's been made mandatory in the state to implement RWS systems. I think this is one of the thing that which came up in council and resulted in large-scale implementation. Now close to 1.75 lakh houses have been using it. Similarly, we have education. There are so many projects I don't have time to explain each of them. Then the education is one of them, wherein we provide support to engineering student projects. Basically, we look at these projects as a probable products and services. So far, close to 14,000 projects have been supported, and this year alone, we supported close to 1,250 projects, 1,250. And incidentally, next week, we have this final seminar and exhibition of student project program. And many projects under this program have been commercialized. We are proud of it. We are grateful to the faculty and teachers of these engineering colleges. I think there are a number of close to 200 engineering colleges in the state. I think all of them participate here. Close to 170 engineering colleges participate in this program. Apart from that, we also have these e-learning centers, then the scientific of schools and alternate building technologies, wherein we've been working in this for almost close to 4 decades now. And we could see a number of examples in the city of Bangalore. People have constructed using our technologies. we have many options for roofing and walling elements, and it could be in excess of 20. So we have many technologies for them, and each one of them based on the requirement, the use of technologies, multiple options they have. And fortunately now it's been uh, it's been totally decentralized in the sense I think anyone can opt for this. We have trained engineers, architects, and manpower to do this. The council and the engineers need not directly provide technological support. I think the technology is on the ground and here to stay. Then we go into the renewable energy, and right now we work on mostly bioenergy and solar. My colleagues, I think they provide a lot of consultancy support to the state government departments. And we also work with the Bioenergy Development Board and disseminating many activities related to the board. And basically, there are two things. One is blending of petrol and diesel. This is going in a big way. Hopefully, we realize the whatever that the policy we have in bioenergy policy of for 2016. We hope to achieve that by the end of 2030. Then many other programs we have. One of them is crucial is cyber security center of excellence. Then we have the Center of Excellence Aerospace and Defense. Then one project which we're trying to do in Yadgir, that is basically uh, manufacturing, or I can say preparation of fortified food for to improve the or to address the malnutrition issues, specifically for adult and I mean children and women. I think this is one of our project with the support of the government of India. I think we have this. This is going to be a small Section 8 company in the coming years, and I think it will be self-sustaining thing. We hope that such kind of centers or startups are set up by many places in Karnataka so that every school-going children will get the best possible food replacement, so that nobody in future suffers from malnutrition. That's the intention. Now the question here is today we will be discussing IPR, intellectual property rights. I think whatever I told you before about the council, all of them could have been patented. But in those days, we didn't work on patenting much. We work on technologies first, and we wanted technologies to be generic in nature, and we wanted them to be integrated to the life of people. So that's what it means. But now I think, honestly, when all of us and many of us are working, it's essential to have this intellectual property so that it provides you the legal rights to the inventor. So it basically IP protects and fosters innovation and protects idea. I think it's very, very essential for the business to happen because for any new ideas to work, it's not just the idea. You need to build a product and a prototype which costs quite a bit of money. You need a large R&D investment, and once you invest such a kind of money, you need to have the rights over it, rights over what you innovate. Unless you don't have the rights, it's impossible to sustain the investment. So I think IPR here, they are from more than a century, but the council and the government of India and the states have been vigorously promoting it, maybe from the last decade. I think we're doing as much as possible from our side to promote the invention ecosystem in the state. We look at many options here. One is patenting, copyrights, trademarks, designs, GIs, and plant varieties. But what is close to our heart is patenting, because that's where the science and technology application comes into place. That doesn't mean that the others are not important, but we do work on copyrights, trademarks, design, patents as well. And geographical indications, I think Karnataka is leading state. We have 44 plus GIs now. We have close to 100 GIs in the country, and out of which 44 is in state itself. I think, but the only thing is, once you get the GIs, where do you go from after getting a GI? I think we need to commercially exploit, and people having this GI should benefit out of it. That we are working on it now. I think all of you understand that, why do we get a patent? That's been very well understood, because unless you get a patent, you can't protect it. If you don't protect it, then the investment and the effort that you put in will not be fruitful. So in this directions, we set up IP cells in uh, many of the universities and the institutions in Karnataka. our wish and our desire is to set up at least to, set up IPSL in every institution in the Karnataka. So to that extent, we are trying to work on it. Probably in 2 to 3 years' time, we will be able to set up IPSL in every institution across Karnataka, and that's our vision and that's our goal. And patents, I think all of you understand that once you file a patent, if it's granted, it's valid for 20 years. And see, earlier we used to take the Indian Patent Office used to take quite a bit of time, but now the granting period is quite reduced in the sense it's less than 2 years. Sometimes it could happen if you do expedite it, it can happen in 6 months also. Similarly, for copyrights and other things, the granting period is much lesser. I think our patent office is doing tremendously well now. I think the people are very happy. The inventors and the people who need copyright trademark, they are very much happy because the cutting down of time from filing to granting, that's very much important for us. And trends in IPR, see, when we started, I think especially for me, when we started 4 years back, there was a good number of patents, but now look at it, we have close to 60,000 patents filing every year now. But still, I think we need to understand one thing here. We're still a long way behind compared to China because the overall, the world, actually 3 million patents gets filed, and out of which 1.5 million of patents are filed by the Chinese. So I think we need to do quite a bit of work to, I think to stay in line with China. So I think the governments, both the central and state, I think we are doing as much as possible from our end to see that the large manpower, technical and scientific manpower available in Karnataka has to result in something. And I think Karnataka has many synonyms. It's called IT city, science city, and all that. I think there is no way that we are inferior to anyone, and I think we need to gear up and see that many things happen. And I think we always stay in top, especially in filing IPRs. Okay, trends. I think granting is tremendously improved. This slide shows granting is tremendously improved, and also you can see the second examination. Also, it's quite a number of starting from 2015 to 2019. You can see at least a fivefold increase in the examination. That's a huge number, huge increase. This is because of the planning and the vision of Government of India and the Indian Patent Office. I think they're doing a tremendous work. I mean, this table itself shows that. And every year, I think this is going. And what is more important for us now, the number of patents that gets filed in India, it's also many of the foreign companies file for patents in India. So somehow the number actually is not the overall patent that's filed by the Indian innovators. It's because of the foreign companies as well. But however, this year, the first quarter showed that the number of domestic filing has surpassed the international patent filing at Indian Patent Office. This is very crucial for us because earlier, the number of international patent filing in Indian Patent Office is much higher compared to the domestic patent filing. This is a very big sign. That means to say that all the universities, inventors, and our companies are working hard to filing patents and getting it granted. So out of the 19,796 patent filed in the first quarter, close to 11,000 are filed by Indian patents. This exceeds the foreign patents by at least by 2,000. This is possible because of the efforts of DPIIT, Indian Patent Office, and the councils like us. All the councils in the country, all the state councils has a patent office, and they are supporting and promoting in a big way this IP ecosystem. This is how the patent registration process. I think my other colleagues are going to speak about this. There are many, good speakers now today. We have Dr. Shri from Indian Patent Office. Then Dr. Aruna Tiwari from Cpam, she's going to speak about it. And Udanram, Sasha Padmanabhan, Doctor. Then Vivek Anand Sagar, my colleagues. I think you have a good number of people with us today to talk about this. I'll skip it. And this is Uh, the patents file, the top Indian applicants, it starts from CSR. Obviously, it has to be CSR because we have many CSR offices around the country. So then next is DRDO, then ICAR, then Marine Life Science, I mean, so on and so forth. But the interesting thing is now, the next slide shows you the private universities are doing quite well now in terms of patenting. This gives us a hope that India could be a IP country in the future because all the universities, not just the research institutions, all the private and deemed universities are contributing it in a big way. And this gives us a hope that in IP, I think, provided that all of us put in our own efforts, I think we're going to stay on top. You can see that Lovely University, Chandigarh University, Bharat Institution of Higher Institution Education Research, they're all doing quite well. And this is the slide which tells you the number of patents filed by each state. Obviously, the top three are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. But I still don't understand with all the support R&D institutions that we have in Karnataka, why we are still at number three. Hopefully, this will change and we have to become number one over a period of time. And this is the PCT, Patent Cooperation Treaty. That means to say that if somebody inventor wants to work in different countries, he's like a patent for those in those countries where he operates. So we have a cooperation treaty with these countries. So whenever my company works in Singapore or China, or it could be any other country, then I apply for a PCT so that I get a patents to uh, patents which is granted and could be legally acceptable in multiple countries. I think the PCT works with the USA, Japan, China. These are the three major countries, followed by Germany. So I think it clearly shows that we have a good industrial working relationship with the USA, Japan, and China, top three as such. And the IPR policy also streamlined the whole process. And the interesting thing is, I think IPR policy will be actually revised once in 5 years because IPR is a fast changing thing. So I think all of us understand that the policy also makes a difference. It's fast changing and we need to be up to it. And fortunately, we have the TIS Center, that is Technology Innovation Support Center, which basically helps you in doing the patent search. I think this is one of the patent database. We are fortunate that CPAM and DPIIT is made this possible to have this TIS Center with us. And I think many individuals have got benefit out of that. At least my own office, patent cell, is been using it extensively to do the online patent search. And the next is, I think so far we are proud that we have established about 55 IP cells. All these cells are doing quite well and remarkably they're doing well in the sense that we have close to 700 plus IP filed this year. This is a very big number. We thought of going for 1,000, but however, we are happy that we have achieved 700. Probably this year it will further increase because last year we had about 35 to 40 IP cells. We have increased it by 50. Maybe by the end of December, we'll have another 10 IP cells. So the number goes up. We train the faculty and students in the entire process of IPR so that it is not just an awareness program for us. It's what we look at it as object oriented. It has to result and yield in something. And we set up benchmarks for short, medium, and long term for each of these IPSLs and the degree institutions, where they really take it up further, not just for the knowledge sake, not just for the promotion sake or awareness. It is basically for the inventors. We try to help them in doing the patent search, pre-art search. We conduct all kinds of training programs from 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and 5 days. I think our trainings are quite good because of the speakers. We are blessed with good number of experts working with us. That's the strength of KSCST IPs. These are the top 14 universities that's listed by us. The file is REVA started. They have in excess of 300 patents actually filed this year. CMRT, BMSC, GMIT, SU, Srinivasa University. It is not just in Bangalore. I think across Karnataka, I could see that many things happening in Belgaum, Davangere. We are fortunate that many towns have picked this up. from starting from Mangalore, Davangere, then Mysore to a certain extent. And incidentally, last time when we have this cell with Mysore University, it was astonishing because one of the former vice chancellor and his colleagues had a patent which resulted in $150,000 of licensing fee. This Mysore University actually worked with Singapore University, and each of them got $75,000. And the four inventors who worked on this patent, they got 10 lakhs each from the university. So that's one of the remarkable thing. It is not just the question of filing, you need to monetize it also. So monetizing is important because it earns wealth, creates jobs, creates better livelihoods. I think IPR ecosystem, not just filing patents, it has to result in a meaningful product and services. Otherwise, just patent means nothing. Okay. So these are many IPR supported. We do all kinds of trademarks, logos, copyrights, all of it. Whosoever comes to us, we are helping it. We can also see some of the design patents here. Okay. That is pomegranate peeler. And we have many such logos, trademarks, which also done by my colleagues here. Okay. Then, as I told you earlier, we have many programs on IPR, quite good. I think I'm using a lot of time. I think sorry for that. Just 2 slides now. Where the IP awards, okay. We also reward and award universities, individuals, startups, and faculty doing well last year. We gave away 12 awards and 14 citations. I think this year we'll continue this as well. We hope to see many more people invigorated and they do well. Okay. Then we have the Kiran IPR scheme where we support the women scientists, those who are taken a breakup in work because of the family issues. So this year, 120 women scientists have been placed in various IP firms across India. And for Southern India, we are the coordinators, and we have placed about 44 women scientists across IP firms in Southern Zone. Okay. Then we do a small internship center. I think here we should understand for the people who are participating in the college, it's good to have a patent agent and an attorney with you. Either it's in-house or you can hire them on a consultancy basis. And what we are planning to do is see awareness capacity building is done for us, filing of patent that's going on. Granting is already coming up now because out of the 700 plus, already some 200 plus are getting granted. Then we are trying to do the validation and commercialization of these patents. And the last thing is that how do people know that what's the patent and what's the novelty about the patent? So we are coming out with a patent bazaar in December, probably much before that. My colleagues have done a fantastic app. It's in the developing stage. I think probably we're going to have this on KSCST website, wherein all the IP cells of KSCST could just put their IPs there, put the novelty, and put the licensing fees so that the buyers and seller can meet at one place and negotiate for the licensing. And fortunately, this time, many of our Kiran IPR's women, they have passed the parent exam. That's very, very good for us. I think close to more than 50% of them, they've passed the patent exam. This is a very heartwarming thing for us because we're going to get additional number of hands to do this IP cells in future. These are many institutions that we collaborate with. I think I just enough from my side. Thank you very much. And I specifically thank all the participants because it's really wonderful that you've been staying with us for last 12 months. And every time I see the number of participants, really, I feel really good because we hope that we made your 3 hours of listening to us making worthwhile. And the coming these sessions, I think we're going to have a good number of women. They are very, very good experts today. And I think it will make your time worthwhile listening to them. Thank you once again. Over to you, Priyanka. Yeah.
So, thank you, sir, giving a brief introduction about the importance of the workshop. So we have our first speaker from Cpam, Dr. Aruna Tiwari. She's an assistant vice president, and in this webinar, she will be talking mainly on the role of Cpam and IP promotion and management. Aruna madam, over to you. Aruna madam?
Yes, yes. Am I visible?
Yes, ma'am, you are visible and I will be sharing your
I have
screen on.
I have already shared my PPT with.
Yeah, I'm just sharing your PPT now.
So you start sharing, and meanwhile I'll start discussing the same. So basically, there was no IPR policy as such in country earlier to 2016. So bringing that IPR policy in the country was not a small work to do by any organization or any government. So the earlier IPR policy came all after a hard work. A need was earlier felt to study IPR scenario in the country. A think tank was constituted. Stakeholder consultations were taken. Then the unit cabinet approval came, and national IPR policy was unveiled by then Finance Minister Madam Nirmala Sitharaman on May 2016. Though earlier attempts were taken by other departments and ministries. Say, for example, Ministry of Science, they had some IP policy in 2000. They issued some guidelines in the form of instruction for technology transfer and intellectual property right. This was used for the projects funded by DST only. So this policy had guidelines for commercialization, benefit sharing, and others. But it was not serving the entire purpose of IPR regime in the country. Next onwards, Science and Technology Policy was released in 2003 by again DST, which gave emphasis on protecting our indigenous knowledge system, primarily through national policies. Then again, it was not sufficient enough. STI policy again attempted by DST, and this was talking about public-private partnership. And beyond ministries, different organizations in our country like IITs, NITs, IISc Bangalore, BHUs, they all attempted their policies as per their understanding and their needs. But there is no comprehensive IPR policy for the country. So National IPR Policy 2016 was the wholesome IPR policy which was launched by the government in 2016 with its 7 objectives. Next, please. So the basic, this IPR policy document was a single document that encompassed and brought all the platforms of IPR on a single platform. And with these 7 basic objectives, to create IPR awareness, outreach, and promotion, because unless and until we are aware of our right, we cannot be aggressive on our rights. A generation of IPR, to stimulate the generation of IPR, there are directions how to achieve all these things. Legal and legislative framework. For when I say legal and legislative framework, we had earlier to this policy launch, we had all the legal policies, legal act in place in the form of Indian Patent Act 1970, then Trademark Act 1999, similarly Geographical Indication Act 1999, Design Act 2000, Semiconductor Integrated Circuit Layout Design 2000, Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers Act 2001, Biological Diversity Act 2002, and so on and so forth. Except trade secret, all the acts are in place, though government is trying to make or come up with some trade secret act as well, though still, but we are till now um, following up Contract Act 1872 for Trade Secret Act. So legal and policy framework was already there except trade secret, but all these acts were governed by different segment of ministries. Like patent, trademark, design, and geographical indications were under Ministry of Commerce, and it was dealt by Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, now known as, earlier it was DIPP, now it is DPIIT, Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Copyright was under Ministry of HRD. Semiconductor Integrated Circuit Layout Design was under Ministry of Information Technology. Plant Variety was under Ministry of Agriculture. Biological Diversity Act was governed by Environment and Forestry. But after the launch of this National IPR policy, all the acts except agriculture and biological diversity rest came in under the umbrella of DPIIT. And DPIIT being a government organization, it cannot handle everything. So to achieve the 7 objectives of these national IPR policies, CPAM was created in 2017 to look after, to help, to assess DPIT, to achieve all these IPR objectives, 7 main objectives, creating IPR awareness in the country, generation of IPR, legal and legislative framework, as I told, it was already in place, except trade secret, administration and management, commercialization of IPR, enforcement and adjudication. Since we were, when this policy was launched, and I had joined DST in 2009, and I was working as an IPR scientist since 2009 to 2021. I joined recently only CPAM. While working at DST, I was coming across on daily basis that awareness is very low despite of all the effort done by different ministries, different segment of the country. But to take it aggressively, CPAM was created, and the CPAM is doing a good job, commendable job, which I'll discuss later on in this discussion. Enforcement and adjudication, you can understand that how poor it could be when we were not aware of our rights even. So enforcement and adjudication was one of the objectives which CPAM is looking after since its inception. And they are doing, not doing commendable, at least trying, and we are looking forward for any suggestion or any direction if anyone has, though we are always receptive to receive those suggestions. If any complaint you want to send to us, you can send to us. We will try to fix it in case of IPR matters, enforcement matters, or any other matters related to 7 objectives of the IPR policy. Next, please. So basically, the CPAM is looking after under duties of DPIT, IPR awareness, enforcement, commercialization of IP, and others. Regarding IPR awareness, we have, since its inception, we have conducted more than 2,000 programs with schools, colleges, universities, and industry. We do conduct training of trainers, like if faculty member want to be aware of IPR technicalities, so we can have those programs also, faculty to train faculties. It could be in online and offline mode. Earlier it was all in offline mode. Nowadays hybrid mode or online mode is more in fashion. Though since 2 years online mode was open, everybody has been now fed up. So everybody is requesting to have some offline sessions rather than online sessions. Now IPR enforcement, it was earlier very poor. Now the government is looking after enforcement and strictly to imply it. So CPAM is conducting sensitization program, IPR awareness program, need-based to judiciary, police officials. Earlier, now custom officials are also included. So we from CPAM IPR sensitization program to judicial academies, police academy, and custom academies. We are looking forward to expand it further also. So far, since its inception, more than 120 programs have been conducted in different academies under enforcement agencies. We also prepared one police toolkit, which is very useful for police academy. Whenever we go and distribute it in among police officials, they become very happy that it's a very concise and ready to use police toolkit is made available by CPAM. So if you wish, we can have, you can go and check on our website also. It might be available on in soft form and digital form as well. So we have major focus on counterfeiting and piracy in this context when we talk about enforcement. Regarding commercialization, we are not directly involved in commercialization, but we create agencies which to look after commercialization, like TISC centers, setting of TISC centers. I'll deal it in later on. KSCST is one of the TISC centers of the country. And with the help of TISC, we have created IPR cells in colleges and universities to look for commercialization. Again, Global Innovation Index, we have more than 80 indicators which ascertain whether what position we would be across the world. Earlier in 2015, the position was in 80s. Now we have improved after taking certain measures by the government and IPR cells, IPR test centers, and others by creating awareness, generation of IPR, commercialization, and other. Global Innovation Index of India has improved from 80, it is to now 46. We are now on 46, and we are trying, this government is trying to improve it further to come in within 10 top position in the world. So this is an important aspect of CPAM, which is we are looking after. Then again, we have several other programs. We are into collaboration with national, international stakeholders. We are creating social media presence. Next, please. So CPAM has some ongoing issues, which we are handling very well. Later on, I'll discuss few issues which we are still stuck and we need some suggestion and help how to go about it efficiently. What we have achieved GI promotion, I'll again discuss it in my later slides, because GI promotion extensively government is looking after GI promotion, because it was the act came into being in 1990, while it was launched or started functioning in 2003. So after 2003, and Darjeeling tea became the first geographical indication as a registered GI. And now we have more than 420 GI registered. And among those 420 GI registered, 370 or so is from Indian producers. Rest are from others. Among all these 370 and 80, among all the states, Karnataka is doing very well. Karnataka is at the first position, having more than 25 GIs in their name. And among those GIs, producers, they are doing, among few are doing very well. So so maybe, and we have traditional knowledge, abundance of traditional knowledge. So somehow we are looking after any connect with knowledge to GI, so that all the locals could be benefited by having this commercialization of registered geographical indication in a nice manner. So I'll again deal with GI promotion activities of government CPAM later on. Then providing legal inputs in context of ongoing bilateral agreements. We have ongoing, suddenly we have every country is interested in bilateral free trade agreement with India. Among those, UK, European Union, US, Canada, UAE is recently finalized. So among all these free trade agreement, IPR is being looked after by CPAM. Though we do in consultation with stakeholders, IPR chair test centers with the help of them. But CPAM is looking after and helping and assisting DPIIT in discussing and negotiation of such kind of bilateral agreement within different countries. Updation and dissemination of resource materials. Yes, for this we are again looking forward for any good translator. If you have any suggestion, we have several documents which is very too helpful for IP field of country. But we are looking for regional language translation. We are not getting a very good translator. If you have any good translator, we can share our study material with translated in Kannada or close states, so that it could be circulated among those states, and it could be useful for the people who are residing in interior parts of the state or country or city, or in rural area, because it might be difficult for them to understand Hindi or English, but they would be able to understand in regional languages. So if you have any suggestion for any good translator, we are open to it, and we are looking forward if you have any suggestion for translation of study materials. Then strengthening collaboration, I already told. Enforcement agency, we have several programs with enforcement agency. We have police toolkit for helping the police how to enforce and stop infringement and counterfeit and piracy thing. And we have prepared custom manual also, though it is in draft phase. Once it would be finalized, it will be circulated with custom officials, and we are again looking forward for judiciary as well. We are preparing something for them also to make them aware.
I think she lost the connection. So participants, meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat box. So once she is back, she may answer it.
Tap the market potential of GIs for foreign countries, whatever registered GIs we have. Though we are attempting, we are trying, but we have not achieved any promotion of GIs abroad so far. Commendable. Then IP installation, we are willing to install IP for information at educational institute. This has not been achieved. Somewhat, some part of it has been achieved somewhere or the other, but it is not a significant one. So IP installation as GI Museum on Wheels or IP Hall of Fame, we are looking forward. Any suggestion you can tell that can be easily implemented. GI startup cell, we are yet to achieve. Those slowly GI startup cells, a couple of startup cells are being informed to us, but it is still not achieved. Module on case law for judiciary, we are preparing it. IPR exchange platform, this is very important. This IP exchange platform, if it would be established in the country, it would solve many of our problems. Stakeholder consultation with e-commerce platforms. Hello. Next, please. Hello. Can I call you in a while, please? I'm in an online meeting. Please. Okay. This I would like to skip. Please skip this slide. Cpam Global Appreciation. This is beyond the scope of this program. Next, please. Next, please. Yes, this is one of the important slide from Cpam. So IPR awareness in academic institutions, we do, as already told, that more than 2,000 IP awareness program we have conducted online, offline mode both. 19 roadshows for industries in 18 states. We are in collaboration. We are always open for collaborations to conduct some programs in relation to IPR. If anybody is interested and any institute is interested, they are always welcome. We had signed one MOU with MSME, and we conducted several programs with Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises. More than 500 programs have been conducted so far. And earlier PICs, few PICs were the test centers made for Cpam. Now we are looking forward to collaborate with all the PICs and work with all the PICs working in different states. IPRs now are included in NCERT curriculum as well for commerce students in class 12. We are looking forward to include it in other subjects also, so that IPR could be studied in a very basic classes, so that it would not be an alien subject once the students are in the college or in the industry. Then we have more than 1 lakh college students. This program was conducted for Rajasthan only through SETCOM via Vigyan Utsav in collaboration with Vigyan Utsav, Doordarshan, and the Ministry of Information Technology. Then the most important thing, first IP mascot, IP nanny was launched, so that school student in a comic form, so that school student can also read and know about what IPR is. And we did it in collaboration with EU IPO, European Union Intellectual Property Office. These videos are educational videos which can be seen from our website. We can check on our website. These comics are there. You can read it. We have hard copy also. We circulated hard copy in the schools. And so focus is being given to develop e-content and disseminate content through online channels. Next, please. So for schools awareness, we have partnership with AWES. AWES is Army Welfare Education Society. This AWS handles 137 schools across the country. So we are in collaboration doing IPR awareness with their schools as per their curriculum and their requests. Then we are having partnership with Atal Innovation Mission, which is under Niti Aayog. So we conduct several programs with Atal Innovation during Corona period also for several school students, sometimes more than 200 schools, 250 schools once, because the program was generally was live on YouTube. So we received several questions as well. Then we have NIOS collaboration. This is an autonomous institution under Ministry of Human Resource Development. Then Gujarat is doing very well. Gujarat is good at coming up with startup, student startup, and others. So we look forward for Karnataka also to come up with this kind of work, because Karnataka is having some largest number of GEI and otherwise also an active PIC S&T Council. So we can look forward to Karnataka to come up with certain collaboration or any suggestion to come up with startups, innovation hubs, and other initiatives similar to the lines of government of Gujarat. Next, please. So for college and universities, we have physical as well as online IPR awareness programs in different institutions. Earlier, we used to receive requests from different universities, and we used to conduct programs there. Now we have mapped something to cover all the universities, be it engineering colleges, be it pharma colleges or medical colleges, NIFT, Fashion Technology College, any institute, any organization who can generate IPR, we are targeting them to make them aware. Now we are also trying to make aware mass comm people, because mass comm people should know, because sometimes we come across several wrong terms in magazines or in newspapers, even on media, social media, and TV, audio, visual media. So it is, we felt the necessity of creating IPR awareness between mass comm students and mass comm people also, so that they have the correct terminology in relation to IPR in their report, in their media reports, so that it could be rightly conveyed to the country citizens in sitting at the rural most part of the country. And additionally, we also, again, SATCOM programs were launched for universities also. And these universities were not only they were conducting this program online, they were conducting offline also, because the group was formed at one place and some videos were given to them and some question answer were done live. So this kind of earlier attempts were done so that larger number of mass could be covered and could be made aware. So these kind of programs Cpam conducts, and since its inception, it's only 5 years since Cpam was formed. So looking at such a small span of time, Cpam has done a good job to make aware that students from schools and colleges. Next, please. Again, MSME is a very good. What I have understood with in IPR regime, unless and until we commercialize our work, there is no point in generating IPR. So if there is no borrower, no purchaser of your IP, then it is better to start your startup. And once you start your startup, there are several programs at DPIIT and MSME. They help startup to build themselves. So there is a startup program and there is a startup portal in DPIIT website. Those who are interested, they can check it on startup website SIPP. Under SIPP scheme, it was launched in 2015. Before launch of startup scheme, only 500 startups or so were there registered. Now more than 80,000 startups are registered and availing the facilities provided by startup scheme of DPIIT Ministry of Commerce. There are more than around 100 unicorns are built within this 5 years of short span of time. So that is very commendable. So I would request to the students basically who are interested in IPR and who want to start their startup, please go through the website of Startup India at DPIT website. It would be useful for you because it provides several incentives, and beyond tax rebate and others, there is a prize ceremony. Award is also being given to the startups. So in that startup category, awards, top five among top five state, Karnataka is one of the state, and that is information to be happy about. So we look forward for Karnataka students to come up with their idea, their scheme to have some startups in their name, in their group, or in their family. Next, please. So MSME, we have already 500 programs, and MSME has different centers across the country. So we took advantage of those 30 developed institutes in IPFC, intellectual property facilitation centers, and 28 branch development institutes. So if anyone is interested, they can approach this DIs, BDIs also, if it is close by. They also, MSME also has very good programs, funding programs for startups and DIs and BDIs, intellectual property facilitation centers also. So this is a wonderful program run by MSME. This could be used for getting benefited by the startups or the students or the IPR owners. Next, please. Now, World Intellectual Property Organization is the biggest organization across the world which looks after IP rights of the countries. So in collaboration with WIPO, we have created Technology and Innovation Support Center in the country. So far, we had 11 TISC centers. Among those 11 centers, Karnataka was one of them. Recently, PIC Kolkata has also joined as one of the TISC centers. Now we have 12 TISC centers beyond Chandigarh, Anna University, Chennai, NRDC, Guj Coast, in Gujarat, Rajkot, Rajasthan, KSCST, Karnataka, Ipr Scheme at Hyderabad. This is a semi-private organization. And CTTC, Bhubaneswar. Jammu, and we have even Jammu and Kashmir Entrepreneurship Development, new TISC centers, one of the new TISC centers at Jammu. Through the help of these TISCs, we have created around 135 IPR cells. These are related to commercialization of IP, and to exploit the innovative potential, to build what we do from Cpam. We try to build skills of TISC staff through learning courses whenever there is any national or international level of learning courses, online or offline. We try to take TISC staff, TISC people, to make them aware and to make them upgrade their knowledge through these courses, and support awareness activities, whatever they conduct. Like right now, what we are doing is supporting your whatever activity you are doing under the Vigyan Utsav. Next, please. So key stakeholders of Cpam are again WIPO, what I told, World Intellectual Property Organization, DPIT. We are under the patronage of DPIT. We assist DPIT in all the national priority work, and we assist them. We provide all the professional help to them, and our suggestion to how to achieve those objectives which are national under national IP policy, and whatever the government thinks time to time. And with the host institution could be IPR chairs. We could be having TISC centers. We could be having any universities or college or school who wants our help. We are always open for that, to create for in IPR matters. Cpam is the, I can say, connecting link between these institutions to the ministry and to the government. Next, please. Now the GI. This is the most important and most emphasized program of government right now. Government is trying to increase the number of GI, geographical indications. Those who do not know geographical indication, I will just give a little intro. Geographical indications are the IP rights given to the goods or products. This could be handicraft, food, or natural items, to locate it to that particular region. Since Karnataka is having the largest number of GI registered so far in country. So I'm assuming that more or less the basic knowledge every wood might be having. So geographical indication could be anything. It could be handicraft. It could be sweet, like Tirupati ka laddu. It could be rasgulla. It could be petha, and beyond that, it could be any handicraft, wooden materials from Karnataka and others. So geographical indications, though, since we have abundance of traditional knowledge in India, being a diverse country, and we had such a lot old history of human civilization, so we can think of large number of geographical indication to be registered, though we have only less than 500. So to increase the awareness among the artisans, users, producers, the government is trying to do as much as to make them aware. So in this line, we have to make general public and consumers aware of IP. GI logo was launched in August 2018. Who do not know how was the logo, please go, just Google it. You will find Google Map symbol with the flag on it. And for this logo to be selected, a competition was run, and the best what we received that received a GI logo. So this GI logo was launched in August 2018. At present, various stakeholders are using the same extensively, which gives geographical indication of presence among general public. Beyond that, geographical indication were exhibited as part of Hyderabad Design Week's Design Expo held between 10 to 12 October 2009. During this expo, Cpam set up an exhibition stall at Hyderabad Design Week, where geographical indication of different states were exhibited and officials interacted with participants. And the users and the producer, they received certain assignment, consignment, and their business got flourished. Then in 2021, DPIIT in partnership with CII and Telangana as partner state organized Geographical Indication Festival of India from January to February 2021. Again, CPAM along with DPIIT undertook a social media campaign of unique of it in its own GI to promote India's GI, where interesting stories and factoids on GI were shared. Successful campaigns, including Gifted GI, was launched during festive seasons to encourage purchase of GI products. Even after meetings, we try to provide some registered geographical indication of India when any foreigners come to our country and they have some meeting or negotiation with us. So we give a GI to them. And further, we time to time we write an article on GIs and published in different magazines. Lastly, we had in India Today's magazine. And in order to popularize geographical indication of India, CPAM made 70 promotional videos covering various Indian GIs in collaboration with TV History. These videos were aired on various channels on TV History channel, 18 Network, and on even radios, Radio Mirchi and others. So government is trying to make GI aware mass and to popularize geographical indication as well. And beyond that, DPIIT is facilitated setting up GI Pavilion in ITPO in Delhi for 5 days during World IP Day, that is in April. The event offered an opportunity to showcase Indian tradition, culture, and enterprising activities under a single umbrella. 25 GI products were showcased at the fair from across the country. A large number of trade visitors visited. That stall was known as AHAR and helped the GI holders build connection and boost their business. This included top ranks of hotel industry, restaurants, catering industry, buyers, distributors. The GI Pavilion at AHAR provided the GI holders a platform not only to their products, but also helped them connect with other businessmen also. Products that were exhibited included Sangli resins, Solapur pomegranate from Maharashtra, Erode Manjal turmeric from Tamil Nadu, Nevara rice, Palakkad rice from Kerala, Bandar laddu from Andhra Pradesh, and many more. some Naga mircha from Nagaland, chao rice from Assam tea. Beyond that, on the occasion of World Intellectual Property Day, DPIIT conducted National Photographic Contest on theme of Bharatiya Amulya Dharohar, capturing various aspects of geographical indications and their uniqueness, diversity, and artistry. The contest winners were provided award-winning prizes also. So, what I wanted to emphasize is, though we are creating awareness and trying to, through CPAM, we are trying to achieve all the 7 objectives laid by the national IPR policy, though it's a big work, but still we are doing slowly, we are achieving many things. So GI has the main focus now. So any suggestion, any complaint, you can tell us, you can suggest us. And beyond that, there are the activities where we have not achieved so far. You can suggest, if you have any suggestions. I'm requesting to the students mainly, they have fresh ideas, they are fresh brains, so they can have several suggestions. So if you have any suggestion, you can provide to us. You can go to the CPAM website, you can write to us, or you write to KSCST. KSCST will convey the same to us. And we are looking forward for these issues which we have not achieved yet, to be achieved through your help, with along with your help, like IPR exchange platform, GI startup cells, IP installations, and others. And beyond that, any good translator, if you have, then please let us know, so that we can translate our study material from English to English, Hindi to Kannada, and can be circulated among Karnataka and other adjacent states. Thank you. If there is any query, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you, ma'am. So participants, if you have any query, you can post it in the chat box. Ma'am, as we are running shortage of time and we have other experts with us,
Yes.
so if there are any queries, I do just send you through mail, and you can address it through mail as well, ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of KSCST, we thank you for being with us today. So we have our next speaker. So next speaker is Dr. Sharana Gowda, sir. He's an assistant controller from Patent Office, Chennai. He has more than 18 years experience in Patent Office. He specialized in examining and scrutinizing the patent applications based on traditional knowledge inventions. And he is a coordinator for the Patent Office India and National Biodiversity Authority of India. And he's a member of expert committee on ABS of Biological Diversity Act 2002. And he has more than 7 journals in national and international journals. And he is an awardee of Young Scientist from Delhi. So with this brief introduction, I request Sharana Gowda sir to take over the session on IPR's Patent Office perspective. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, good morning, everybody. So, we are all joined here. So, on the occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Vigyan Utsav. So, having a theme of intellectual property rights. So, I thank KSCST and DST for giving me this opportunity to share the perspective of the patent office or IP office with respect to the intellectual property rights. So in today's topic, so I will restrict myself to be a part of the speaking on the NIPOM. So what we started to celebrate 75 years of Independence Day, India's Independence Day. So we started with a National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission. This mission is established so with the 75 officers being a NIPOM officers, and with around 20 senior team leaders and 5 senior team leaders. So with this, the NIPOM we started. So the objective of this is to create the awareness among the academicians, mainly the students and faculty at all the school level, college level, and the institute and university levels. So in all that, so this awareness is and on the intellectual properties and how one can obtain the intellectual property rights. What is the intellectual property rights? What are the advantages of intellectual property rights? So under the this mission, so it is on again with the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So same theme what KSCST and DST is having to celebrate Vigyan Utsav. So this is a theme of in the Office of Controller General. So with that, we launched by our secretary, Honorable Secretary has launched on 8th December 2021. So with the ambition of this National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission to create awareness among 1 million students till 14th August 2022. So that was the aim with that. So Pan India ambition of this mission. So from class 8 onwards, it can be that, as I said, so it is a class 8 onwards, it can be a school level. So that is what, so our intermediary or degree, any subject, so with the board. So the objective of this NIPAM, as I think earlier speaker was speaking on various aspects and promotions of the intellectual property rights in collaboration with several departments. So the major initiative which was taken by Ministry of Commerce Industry and through the patent office or IP officers, this NIPAM has to make a IP holder to become a job giver rather than the job seeker. So the conventional trend of getting a degrees and waiting for the jobs, so that has to change in the Indian perspective. So one who has created, so he has a creative ideas, and when he has expressed, he can, and that expression has a commercial value, so that can be taken as a is intellectual property. And when you are registering that intellectual property, it will be a that is a IPR. So this IPR, though it has a some characteristics which is a negative right and territorial right, so all this with the characteristics. So but this makes a protection at the market level for a creator. So that will be the advantage when you are owning the IPR and you are going into the market. So that is what the with that aim of on the occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So we have started with a mission. So that is National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission. So through this mission, our main aim of this mission is, as today we have 6 forms of IPR, 6 major IPRs, that is patents, industrial designs, trademarks, geographical indication of sources, copyrights, and semiconductor integrated circuit layout designs. So these are the 6 major IPRs which are under the one umbrella of Controller General of Patents, Designs, and Trademarks. So the head of all these 6 IPRs, earlier it was in a diverse ministry, so now it has been brought into DPIIT and under the CGPDTM to group as a major IPRs. So this patents, whenever any new product or new process which is novel, inventive, and industrial applicable, if it is patentable in India or other countries, they can obtain a new product or process involving inventive step and industrial applicable. So that technology, whether it is a product or it's a process for making any new product or existing product, so if that can be granted as an enforceable right, that will be a patent. So the any aesthetic creations, So anyone can create, whether it is a fashion designing items, anything which can be made as a industrial design. So aesthetic creations, whether it is a shape or the configuration. So any aesthetic creations which can be a industrial designs. And when you come to the marketing at the marketplace for the trademarks or service marks. So the trademarks, word, name, symbol, so whatever you were marking or whatever you are putting with a your goods or service at the marketplace, so they can be a trademarks for the identifying goods of manufacturer of the goods at the marketplace. So those are trademarks. So geographical indications, as madam has spoken a lot on this promotion of the GIs. Several GIs name has been, and Karnataka is the highest GI registered through the government and other societies. So one of the important IPR, it is also a, it can be obtained for natural or artificial goods. So this GI of sorts is also an important one when you are establishing or when you are product at that having a characteristics of that geographical location, you can use that for promotion of that. So GI tag will help definitely in that. So you another IPR which is copyrights. So that is the and related rights. So a bundle of rights which are protecting the creator by unauthorized copying of them. So this another one, SICD, semiconductor integrated circuit layout design. So these are the 6 IPR forms. Under the NIPAM banner, we are giving information around 1.5 hours. So for that, Karnataka Science and Tech Council of Technology, KSCST has helped a lot. So several programs were conducted in Karnataka. So through them, so I'm thankful to the KSCST and their team. So we are all encouraging and having a collaborations because Karnataka is aware of, because KSCST is already established MOU with several engineering and universities and other colleges, degree colleges, having a MOU with them, which helps to train them. So through that, we had a several programs organized under the NIPAM program, NIPAM banner, jointly with KSCST. I'm thankful for that. So this NIPAM, one of the objective to make a awareness of all forms of IPR and their role in increasing the global innovation index. So the India, though since 2015, we are having the upward trend in the ranking. So in 2015, we were at 81st place rank, and we are at 46th. So this global innovation index every year, which is given by the World Intellectual Property Organization, situated at Geneva. So, but the aim of our mission is to one day or in next 10 years, we need to be entering the top 10 of the Global Innovation Index. So this aim, so we have started with a National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission to create the awareness among our students and faculty, researchers, scientists, all the academicians. With that motive, we have started with that. So almost we have covered more than 1 million students and around 1.5 lakh faculties in this program. So in this NIPAM, in almost 8 months, we have covered a lot on this to make aware of the students and the faculties in all engineering colleges, universities, institutes, so that we need to encourage them for protection of their whatever the creations what they are making. So with that, we need to be entering. So this is the creation and protection is at one place. So we are also making them, even if you are innovations are fostered at your organizations or institutes, or individually you are doing any creations, but without protection of IP, you are going for a commercialization, there is a danger. So that is what you need to pass through the stage of protection of IP by your organization's IPR policy, and then you are commercializing. So then you will be protected at the marketplace. At least for in patents, you will be having a 20 years. In trademarks, it is a number of years you will be protected. So different IP having a different protection timelines. So, but if your innovation, that is patent, so if you are not protected and commercialized, anyone can copy that. So that's what we are creating awareness through the NIPOM to all our, you can say they are stakeholders for us whenever they apply for patents. So they will be the applicants, and they are 20 years from the date of filing. They are protected with that. So with that protection, so they can commercialize either by creating the startups, because many colleges I interacted, especially engineering colleges, I have seen a lot of startups are created at their place. So if they go through the IP protection way, so they will be definitely a success in achieving the goal of commercialization and reaching the public and increasing the global innovation index of India's rank. So that is what, so I just wanted to share with you all. So thank you all for your patience hearing. If any questions, I can answer. Thank you. Thank you, KCST and DST, for giving me this opportunity to share my view, Indian Patent Office prospective with respect to the intellectual property rights. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So if there are any questions, we can take couple of questions. So if there are any questions, this participants can type it in the chat box. Sir, if we receive any question, we will send you through mail, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. In this series, today we have our another speaker, Mr. M.G. Kodandram. So, Kodandram, sir, is an retired Assistant Director of Customs and Central Excise. Currently, he is practicing as an advocate and consultant and master trainer of GST for CBIC, Government of India, Faculty of National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, member of the State GST Committee, Federation of Karnataka Chambers, Commerce and Industries, advisor of BBMP Roshni, and author of the book titled A Practical Guide to GST Practitioners Examination, published by Karnataka Law Journal publication. He is the recipient of Sanman Award. So with this, I request Kodandram sir to take over the session over IPR and cyber laws. Over to you, sir. Sir, you're on mute. Unmute, sir. We couldn't hear you. You to Google. Unmute, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Am
can.
I audible?
Sir, we can hear you, sir.
Is my PPT visible?
So,
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Very, very happy. From the morning, you had deliberations by Hemant Kumar ji and Sharana Gowda on patent and Tiwari ji on Cpam, how they are performing. Now, you know how Government of India is preparing for us to strengthen our IP values. But in the meanwhile, there is another one which is creating a kind of a distortion or a dilution in the IP. IP regime, as it stood, is not specifically suitable into the cyber aspects or cyber society. Means IPR was okay as long as the traditional way was there. Industrial products were coming and their protection could be done But in the cyber interface, when IPR is jumbled, we are putting into ourselves into a situation where IPR itself is threatened. No doubt, everybody is supporting IPR, but whether the law, legal position as on today is in a position to give help because of digital interference by the digital technology. Means today we are looking into the future aspects and presently what is already being affected by violations of IPR in the cyber society, in the cyber network, in the digital mode. How to prevent it? Is the law an answer, or do we need to think beyond the law? That's what we will together try to share. To take you together, I will start my talk with IPs. I will spend very less time because you have heard too much of IP all these days. The basics I need not. But I will be speaking on cyber technology, the challenges, the features and the challenges the cyber technology and the cyber society is providing to the value system of IP. They have diluted the IP to such extent, sometimes when you think whether IP is any time, any place is valid protection possible, we are put into much difficult situation where we say it doesn't serve any purpose. But can we keep quiet, or do we need to look to do modifications in the law? Or can we think of a technology to outwit the fraudsters? These are all the aspects we will try to look in, where I say challenges in IP protection, whether remedies are available in the other law. So now you had IPR law, it's synchronizing with the digital technology law, information technology law, and it is also evolving legal position is there. Even law are being made, even privacy laws are already being placed on the parliament. And therefore, when they meet each other, can we help each other? Can we help each other so that the IP protection is continued into the digital world and to the digital realm? I think this is very clear to you, the point of aspect which I am going to deal. IP, as I told you, is ownership of intangible goods. Though it is a ownership of intangible goods, it existed in tangible form most of the time. Means, though there's an idea, it has to be expressed in the tangible goods so that ownership will be given to the intellectual aspects, intellectual claims of that. That's very much clear to you. But now what happens in the digital era? Digital era itself is a virtual field, as you know. So this intangible goods gets a kind of a treatment where it is impossible for you to track down these intangible goods. How it is, I'm going to let you know. Kindly wait. Secondly, intellectual property was basically a national law where it has national limitations. It has, through WIPO and World Trade Organizations, through TRIPS, all these new agreements, it has tried to get a uniform way of protecting such IPs through national laws by having an international agreement. No doubt, international agreement is a soft instrument. It has to be inbuilt into the national law, and thereby the national laws are trying to become uniform as well as similar or as per the TRIPS agreement. Thereby, we are able to enhance the jurisprudence of IP. IP's jurisdiction can be expanded in some way. IP rights are national and they are negative rights. If you say I have a patent, it has no purpose unless you are able to prevent somebody else from misusing. Kindly note, all IP rights, even copyright, if somebody copies it and if you don't raise your voice against it, it goes diluted. Your rights are of no use. For example, you have made a movie, somebody else copies it and starts making money out of it. Unless you take remedial action, it is of no use for you to own that IP itself. Means at the commercial place, you need to have your control because it is a negative rate where you are going to prevent others. Only when you prevent others, you can make money. Similarly, a trademark. If somebody uses your product with the trademark, you will not be able to identify him. Then how do you stop him? That's the situation we need to think of. So copyrights and trademarks, today I will take it up. How they are in danger in the digital regime, we will try to know. Now I think IP regime is very much clear to you. IP environment, we can call this. When you come to cyber society, cyber space today, earlier I used to explain in much detail. Now I don't have to because all of them have become equipped with the cyber space and its products day in and out. Nothing starts without use of digital technology, starting from your mobile phone, emails, whatnot. The whole life is spread out in the cyberspace. All your activities, including getting goods into your place, to your home, it's through e-commerce. The Department of Post and has become a kind of a archive because of email. Nobody writes any letters, things like that. It's all through email. Similarly, publication of books have started online because it is very costly to come out with a practical book, with a physical book. Means due to this technically a new space available, new world common available. What is it world common? You know, the air space given by God is common to all of us. So also the water and other commons. And this is a new common cyberspace where everybody can do everything in the virtual world. There, how do you control the cyberspace? Because it has no national boundary. It has no respect for sovereignty. Nobody can control. Kindly look into that space. In this, e-governance is fine. Social, economical, welfare, development, all these two happen. And also the crime. Means as communication becomes easier, as delivering things in the virtual form becomes easier, crimes have ascended, have become increased day in and day out. I don't have to give the figures. Data is available, you can look in. We are worried about every day morning about the cyber threat. Our bank balances may go empty or nations may become violent due to some fake news. Then you can imagine what sort of situation we are heading towards. So also the cyber war. Now you know remotely you can play a war. That too in the drone age now. Cyber war has become more. Even you can stop very big public utilities of other countries using your equipments. So you can call it as cyber terrorism. Means it's in the virtual field where you need not be physically present. Kindly note. And we have a cyber law, cyber security. Technologically, we are trying to secure it. Cyber law, legally, we are going to control them. That's cyber law is developing every day in and out with new notifications, new norms, new standards. But the challenge is when somebody does a crime in the virtual world, how do you present it to the court? There, another space is developing. It's called cyber forensics. Means huge amount of development is happening in the virtual world. whether the Information Technology Act 2000 as amended by 2008 is sufficiently able to handle. So also our IP laws, which are all more than 10 years old, 15 years old, can they be sufficient to control crime of IPs in the cyber world? Now you can imagine. The cyber world crimes includes IPs crimes also. So in that, today I will discuss on trademarks and copyrights. This is what I told you. It has very tough time for us to manage cyber world because it has complete disrespect for national boundaries. You can take a situation when any crime happens, the victim may be in India, the perpetrator of crime may be in another country, the computer facility used may be through a cloud network or in another country. Means there is no chance for us to know who is the criminal, where he is staying, what is his whereabouts. So to that extent, we are having a tough. Even that fellow can hide himself through anonymity and pseudonymous aspects. So these are all the real challenges where no doubt there is an economic efficiency in doing things. Today I am speaking without reaching you there. There is an efficiency in my delivering this lecture. There is also efficiency in making the crimes happen. Are you able to get it? I can go on giving a lot of examples, but due to shortage of time, I am proceeding further. The WIPO beautifully analyzes the intractable challenges in the digital environment. You cannot track them. First of all, you cannot find out who is the criminal, what is an offense. In such an event, is it possible to protect your intellectual property? That's a bigger question. How? You can see. We will apply these 5 principles. Identity of the counterfeiter is often unknown to the brand or content owner. You are a owner of works, but somebody has reproduced in some other country, and if you try to reach him, he is not available, and he is covered in his country's law. And if you try to do anything, file a complaint here, this person will say, sir, it is from another country, it will take time. We will have to write to that country and take their consent and try to deport him here. Is that possible for an IP offense when it is not possible for a fraudsters to bring back to India? Is it possible for a small property right which we lose to bring back? That's the challenge. What is the way out? We will have to think out. Anonymity, a whack-a-mole they call. This you must be a popular. A web page is taken down, another online listing pops up. You want to reach that particular URL. When you click it, it goes to somebody else. That fellow is an infringer. He doesn't identify himself. You think that it is some other else and you have reached the fraudster's gate. Anonymity. That's the danger. More dangerous is the sheer volume, velocity of online counterfeit sales. For example, somebody is selling a brand which is misbranded or falsely applying a brand. Are you able to see that it is being sold when it is being sold? It is impossible. You will, instead of selling your product, you may have to go on looking into the website and see if anybody else is selling my product. The search engines also may not be able to cooperate with you. Secondly, online listing is very time sensitive nowadays. They may be opening it for a few hours and they close down. They know somebody may track us. In such an event, how it is possible for you to protect your trademarks, copyrights? Pirates specifically called for copyright violations. Counterfeiters, they are for trademark violators. They have more than one website, different countries raising questions, international jurisdiction, enforcement of foreign judgments. It is impossible. there is no uniform international mechanism for delisting and blacklisting online pirated goods and counterfeits as on today, and therefore, unless the information technology law grows to that level, as well as IP law accommodates it, it is impossible for the traditional IP law to be useful. Let me move further. Look into this. These are all the peoples. For example, literary work, dramatic work, musical work, artistic work, photographs, cinematographic, computer programs. They are expected to benefit the first owner, isn't it? But now, when you do a musical composition, if you try to exchange it through digital world, somebody may immediately copy it, use it. You can't do anything. Secondly, you don't want to use musical world. You will say, no, sir, I will record it. If anybody wants, I will give CD only. Fine. Somebody will buy one CD from you and he will upload it. Gone. Your musical works are gone. Similarly, films, you have seen them. They are being released even before the owner, the producer releases the film. Computer programs, less said the better. You know very well. Means these works are not protectable in the traditional way in respect of digital technology. In one sentence, we can say. Would you agree with me? If you don't agree with me, please write to me. I will explain you each aspect of it. I have made it very, very simple for you so that you can think of, if you use digital technology, either to take a photograph, can it be copied by somebody else? Or even you are transmitting, can somebody take it? Or without your rights, can you spread it? Fine, that's fine. That is, copy left is also a movement is there. As long as that is there, if you want to protect your interest, as long as you want to protect your IP, it becomes terribly difficult in the digital world. Let's move. How it is happening. Music share. Who doesn't know about music share? Everybody knows. We download music, but the intermediary says, no, sir, I am taking from A and A is speaking to B and they are exchanging. And that backups are lying with me. Somebody else may also download. What should I do? He will say, it is, I don't know whether that music system, music output has a control. It has a IP. How do I know? How do I deal with that? So intermediary who gives music share platform and other platforms, they are very, very happy because people will go to those platforms and download and enjoy without paying any money. And the authors are in penury or in poverty. That's where anybody will download, distributing copies in no time at all. World over, it can be spread without any control. And when you try to look in and locate who is the violator, you will be spending huge amount of time, which doesn't commemorate the commercial returns. It's illegal. Online piracy is illegal, unethical. But ease of use has only gotten better as technology advances. Today I have coming to 5G, where entire film can be downloaded in few seconds. Where is the question of somebody tracking me down? That's the thought. Unless persons are ethical, the originators are in trouble. So also the social media, pirates, counterfeiters. Under Section 14 of the Copyright Act also, he is a copyright owner. He has somebody wants to publish it, has to say permission from him. He has to authorize. But such authorization is never taken. And it is not possible for him also whether his works are being exhibited, misused, commercialized. This is the danger we are under. Another most dangerous danger is plagiarism. Plagiarism, less said the better. You people are in the education field, most of you, you are already become victims of this plagiarism. By the time your article comes, somebody would have published in your name taking the para. Your first para may be the last para, or last para may be the first para, but he would have given in a different way. So we have very difficult to cut down. But how do you control plagiarism? You have some software trying to locate where you are going to evaluate for your academic purposes. But what about in the commercial field where he misuses and earns, or he doesn't want to earn, he wants you to lose? The creator is not able to understand how to protect to that extent. Now coming to the trademarks. To cut the story short, I have given the pictures. Nowadays, when you buy goods online, you do not know whether it's a fake or a real one. Most of the time, we land up in fake, but we do not complain. When by the time we complain, he will say, sir, it's a different brand of another company, sir. Very, very difficult. And on this, in my regular trademark talks, I have spoken, so I skip them. Kindly rewind them and find out. We will go to another crime. Domain name. What is there in a domain name? Large companies' names were hunted down by the digital fraudsters. They took advantage and created a URL of their own. For example, Satyam Information Way, that SIFInet came. When Satyam charged him, don't use SIFInet, it is my software trademark. He said, I am not using your trademark. I am having it as a URL. I am having it as a domain name. Domain name is not a trade name. Kindly note, domain name is not a trade name. Fortunately for us, our wise judges decided no, though it is a domain name, only an address, it also indicates the source and therefore to be treated on par with the trademarks. You have Triton cases, Dr. Reddy's, Tata Sons, Yahoo. There are a lot of people now, fraudsters, they will create this URL even before the companies are start functioning. And when the company which wants to have a brand name tries to get this URL, it fails because there is already that address is booked. Either it has to go for a dispute or it has to get engaged with him. This is the problem we are facing. This crime is cyber squatting, which is going on in very large scale. Very large scale, very difficult to contain. By the time you register your unit, you brand, by the time you start your business, somebody else in your name started accumulating benefits for it. For that, I request whoever applies for trade name, whoever applies for any company registration, kindly check whether in your name any URL is there. First book the URL, whether you get the trademark or not. Book the URL, then apply. That's one way we can prevent it. Counterfeit goods go unabated. Not that cyber laws doesn't say it is not applicable beyond India. The law do says, section 1 read with section 75. It says anybody using Indian system is punishable. Any victim is from India or an Indian, he is to be protected. And even anybody staying anywhere in the world, if he is using any system wherein an Indian is affected, even that fellow is liable for offense. Means it has expanded itself, but to implement the law, the challenge is how do you enforce Indian law in the other country unless that country respects your law? That's the challenge where we are not able to reach, especially in the digital world. Especially the developed countries like America, China, US, they are literally playing a cyber war. You know very well. I don't have to explain. Even UK, they are having sponsored, state-sponsored defrauding is going on. Of course, that may not enter into IP regime, but still, if you find a violator, if they don't respect and send him to India for prosecution, what is the use of it? That's the challenge we need to look at. There are no doubt John Doe orders are there. John Doe orders means when you don't know who is misusing it, you can get across the entire section, all those fraudsters which are going to publish that as the persons perpetrators of crime. It will give cease and desist order. But how do you implement it? If you desist, cease and desist in India, but others worldwide, it may be again available. So this was also a very challenging situation. Delhi High Court in one of the cases asked the Facebook, Google and others to remove, block and disable on global basis links to a particular video. This Srimati Pratibha M. Singh is from Bangalore. She was my contemporary, maybe junior, slightly junior. So she is one of the leading judges in the IP law as well as information technology law. She had given a very innovative judgment. She said once court says it is an injunction, doesn't mean that it should be unpublished in India. It should be applicable across. That's what geo-blocking, which is a challenging which we have to do, implement. It is not being practiced, and it is digital technology, digital law is equipping itself with new laws so that there is responsible behavior by these digital service providers. They are called fiduciaries also. Sir, as you say, sir, law is not at all coming to our help. What should we do? We are technically very good. We should think of technology to protect the fraudsters being misusing our works, misusing our assets. We need to install, for example, if there is a, recently I read through a Srigandha being protected using chips where they can sitting at home find out even if it is stolen, it can be caught where exactly it is stored. They can find out. So there, that's a technology. Even through video, they can see sitting at their home if somebody is coming and stealing it. So like that, technologically we can do it. Some of them are already available. You have heard of cryptography, encryption type, digital watermark technology, digital signature technology, electronic marketing, but more need to be done. More research could be done in this. I think in the Belgaum program, I listed around 20 new technologies that could be done. Even beyond, you can think of. This is the only way you can protect your IP. Law may not be able to protect in the present situation. So, and also there is the need of global guidelines. World over, they should respect this. They have to go beyond TRIPS and they should come out with an agreement where this is respected as far as at least IP products are concerned. Otherwise, commercialization, globalization becomes a myth. Technology is the only solution as on today, I could say. So what is the way forward? What is changes that are happening when you look in? In digital world, it has taken a new dimension, especially over the top platform, OTT platform. That to companies like Amazon, Netflix, Hotstar, Indian entertainment industry. Now it's producing highest number of films online. You have two types of people, licensing people, co-production deals. There, the amount involved is huge. How do you control them? How do you avoid violation? That's the biggest challenge we are having. Similarly, you look into the cease and desist notice, where you cannot globally desist it, because globally they may not be falling in order. Dynamic injections are of no use. We have to think of new ways. Further added to it, you have Internet of Things developing, cloud computing going on, big data analytics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain. They are all disrupting the industry. You have Industry 4.0, where human being will not be there. If there is somebody doing IP copying or IP counterfeiting, at least in the cyber world, before getting into physical world, there was some person available. But in Industry 4.0, the machine itself adapts looking into the digital information available. when it starts creating products on its own, how do you control it? Where no physical interference is available even in the manufacturing sector. So these are all the challenges that is posed in the digital world. More of it, kindly look into the various web resources I have given. And I want each one of you to think over the technological way, the legal way, both IP law as well as cyber law, so that our IP are protected and our commercialization are passed on to the next generation. With this, I come to the end of my talk. Thank you. If there are any questions, you can take if it is interesting.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So we have one question like IPR can be granted for genetically modified microbes in India.
That's a matter. It's under dispute. I don't want to discuss. Even in US, you have very few one that have been given, like the Chakravarti case you might have read in your initial stages. In India, it is too early to answer. So I think patent officer who is there, he will be the right man. He can take up this question later.
Yes, with that, thank you, sir. So if we get any questions, we communicate through mail. So thank you for your wonderful session, sir.
Thank you. May God bless every one of you.
Thank you, sir. So we have our next speaker. The next speaker is Dr. Sasha Padmanabhan. She's a registered patent agent and WIPO tutor from Bangalore. So her topic will be on patent protection and rights. So with this, I request Sasha madam to take over the session. So over to you, madam. Madam, you should unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me for this talk. And I will share with you some of my insights and some of what I know so that it helps you in the future, given the theme of our advancement today, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the topic of today's talk is patent protection and patent rights. Okay, so like any rights, patent rights also come with a set of obligations or set of duties. We'll look at those as we go through the presentation. So why do you have an intellectual property right? Why is it needed? It is basically giving a statutory expression to moral and economic rights of the creator. It's a right of the public to access such creations, promotes creativity and dissemination and application of its results, encouragement and promotion of inventions and innovations, incentive to the inventors for development of new technology. It is a catalyst in long-term economic, industrial, and social growth. It boosts the GDP by licensing revenues. So basically, when you say intellectual property rights, the question comes, why should I go for it, right? So these are some of the reasons that I could think of why one should apply for an intellectual property tool, a mechanism. Why should you go via it? Okay, so these are some of the reasons. Now, when we look at intellectual property and intellectual property rights, we need to understand the difference. What is intellectual property and what is intellectual property right? Okay, now property comes in two forms. It can be either tangible or intangible. What does tangible mean? Something that you can touch, feel. So it is either movable or immovable, right? Like you have a piece of land or you have a vehicle. Those are tangible properties. Now, when you talk of intangible properties, that could be something like lease or security, an emotion, goodwill, intellectual property rights. Okay, now when you talk about intellectual property rights, they are intangible property rights, right? And what is the intellectual property which is within those right? What is that intellectual property? It is based either on technology, a brand name, ornamental design, place, goodwill, local talent, creative work, and art. These are the intellectual properties. Okay, so what are the rights associated with these intellectual properties? The right associated with a technology is a patent. The right associated with a brand name, when that is the intellectual property, the right is the trademark. If it is an ornamental design, that is the intellectual property. And what is the right associated with that? It is designs. When you talk of a place or a goodwill or talent, then usually it is geographical indications, creative work, art, copyright. So most of us are familiar with patents and trademarks, right? Ornamental design, we understand. Something which is new here, perhaps, is geographical indications, but we should be aware of it, as we in Karnataka, like, we are leading in geographical indications. So many of our handicrafts, our culture, like beadry work, our silks, our crops, many of these things have a GI tag. So that is something to be aware of. And creative work and art, this gets the right of copyrights. So when people confuse this, a trademark cannot substitute a patent. These are all for different things, as you can see. The property associated with each right is different, and we should have that absolutely clear in our minds. Okay, so now when we talk of intellectual property rights and patents, we are talking about something technical, some kind of an advancement in technology, which is novel, which is inventive, which has industrial applicability, and it could include an apparatus, a device, machine, chemical products. These are time bound. The time limit for this is 20 years. The clock starts ticking the minute you apply for a patent. Your 20 years start when you apply for a patent. That is, the patent application is submitted, your clock starts ticking. It does not matter how long it takes for the patent to be granted, right? So it's time bound, and also it's territorial. So if you apply for a patent in India, you are protected. It's a contractual agreement with the government of India, and you're protected only within the territory of India. It is territorial in nature. So these are some things. So sometimes people think, oh, I applied for a patent, but somebody else has done it somewhere else with a slight modification. That is because perhaps he has added a few more components, and the protection that you sought was only in a particular jurisdiction. It did not extend to that territory where the other person has sought for patent protection. So when we talk of intellectual property rights and specifically about patents, we are talking about technology. And these are the few points which you have to keep in mind when you talk of patents. Okay, now what does patent do? It facilitates advancement throughout the technology life cycle. Okay, so when there is a technology push, what does that technology push mean? It means there is a need for something, there is a problem, and you need a solution for that. So you do some basic R&D, basic research, right? After the basic research, you go on to applied research. As soon as you come to the applied research, there is a possibility of patenting. Okay, you are able to demonstrate and you go into the market. When you enter the market, there is a feasibility of licensing, which is of various sorts. Just like any other property, you can rent, you can sell, you can lease, you can do the same thing with patents, right? So you have the ability of licensing as soon as you enter the market. You can have exclusive licensing, you can have non-exclusive licensing, all depends on how you conceive your market to be, right? And it depends on the market pull. Market pull means how much of a problem is there that your invention is solving. If your invention is solving it, people would want your invention and you will enter the market. So basically here, I just want to show you that throughout the technology life cycle, there are, chances, there are places where you can apply for a patent. All right. Now let us look at the top technological fields in patent filings. This is global. From 1895 to 2020, I have taken this from a Ipr report. So very early in the 1890s, the thrust was on engines and transport. From 1930 to 1960, it came on to biopharma. Then it came on to communications, telecommunications, till 2000. And today, we are at digital technology. So this all depends on the need of the hour. What is it that the community wants? What is it that the market wants? What is the problem that you need to solve, right? And accordingly, you come out with solutions. When you come out with solutions, you want to protect those solutions. You want to protect those solutions where you think you have the commercial market, right, for those solutions. Where will people buy it? For example, if you're able to make a fur coat, a synthetic fur someplace in Chennai, you will not have a market for synthetic fur in Chennai. You will have it in Sweden. Then you have to protect it in Sweden. You don't need to protect it in India. But there is a mechanism. You apply for, a permission from the Indian Patent Office, and you then apply in the jurisdiction of Sweden. So that's how, depending on the need of the times, depending on the need of the place, you come up with innovations. The picture here depicts the global trends, how it started in 1895 with engines and transport, went on to biopharma, went on to communications, went on to digital technologies. Today, we are sitting in the last phase, right? 2000 to 2020, digital technologies. This is the top growing technological field today. Now, if you take the digital technologies, there are so many things over here, right? And from 2016 to 2020, you have a sudden steep rise. You have cloud computing, you have big data, you have artificial intelligence, autonomous systems. All of this makes for where the thrust is, where the trend lines are peaking, where everything is growing in a very, very fast pace. Now, let us look at our Indian scene, right? Okay, this data I have taken from our Indian Patent Office annual report. And here you can see the various lines in different colors. So from 2015 to 2020, you can see how the trend lines are for the various fields which are important for us, namely chemical, pharma, polymer sciences, computers and electronics, communication, electric, physics, biomedical, mechanical, and others. All right. So now, if you see, the trend lines basically stay the same with number of patent applications just increasing in those respective areas. The thrust, for example, you can see a thrust in pharma. The red line is 2019 to 2020, which is the latest annual report that I could find. So there is a peak in pharma. There is a peak in computers and electronics. And there is a little dent in communication. And then you see something in mechanical. All right. But it is generally the peaks being only for pharma and computers and electronics. That what is seen in computers and electronics is in keeping with the digital technology and the boom globally. In pharma, of course, it's the need of the hour. And others, you can see a dip. You see, it's not as good in the polymer sciences or in physics or in electric as in the other fields. We could attribute that to the COVID pandemic and perhaps, a lack of ability or some kind of a disruption in scientific activity and patent applications. But the computer and electronics and the pharma, they are meeting the global trends. They are sort of in parallel, in synergy with the global developments. These are in the major fields. Here you'll see I have also another tab which says other, okay, and that I describe in the next one, which have a number of fields here, namely biotech, biochem, food, microbiology, metallurgy, textile, civil, general energy, agrochemicals, agricultural engineering, and traditional knowledge. Here, if you look at the red line, you can see a peak in food, right? And that, given the times, right, we needed some kind of to reach food, non-perishable, perishable, all those things you have to keep in mind and reach it to people. There has been some advancement in the food industry. You can see patent applications filed between 2019 and 2020. There is a peak. The others don't seem to have made a major attempt at patent application. They seem to be actually in the engineering, agrochemicals, it's actually gone down. That is probably the times and the ability to do science. Now, there is a quote which I have taken, which says, if people don't get paid for their inventions, that is not a good thing. In the case of many patents, there are people who aren't in a position to take them to the next level. If you don't enforce your rights, no one is going to enforce them for you. The reason why I'm saying this is we have made an attempt at patent filings. We have filed a number of patents even from our own organization here at the KSCST. A lot of patent filings are happening. But the next level is patent enforcement. Are they working? Are you making money out of it? So for that, I have again looked at our annual report, and there is a form which is called Form 27. Okay, in that you have to mention whether your patent is working and whether you're making money out of it after it is granted. Okay, so patents in force is the blue bubble which is on top, which you see is in a steady rise. Okay, and this is also till 2020 from 2015. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the intervals from 2015 to 2020. And you will see there is a steady rise in the blue bubbles. Okay. Form 27 is received accordingly, but how many are reported as working? That is considerably low. So something is not happening, right? When we have a patent granted, is that the end of the game? It isn't. You have to make it work. You have to make money out of it. You have to do something about it. So there is something where we need to work. We have the Form 27, it is received, but is it reported as working? Not as much. So this is something to think about. And then we go on to the revenue which is generated from the 3rd to the 20th year of grant in the patent office. You see, after the 3rd year, you are going to continue paying your maintenance fee for the patent, which is granted. You have to maintain it for the 20 years that the patent is valid from the date of grant. So you have continuously to maintain it. When will you maintain it? You will maintain it only when there is some kind of a return from that patent. Okay, so what do we see here? We see that there is a sudden increase in the year 19 to 20, 2019 to 2020. So some ray of hope comes in here. Like we are doing something right. Okay, but there is still scope for improvement. Okay, so now what can you do and how do you do it? How do you make the improvements that need to be done? Okay, so the thing is awareness. We need to be aware of what problems can a patent solve. So first of all, what do? You look at the literature. You have to be aware of the existing knowledge. Then what is the problem? You evaluate the problem. You look at your hypothesis. You look at your work. Does it solve that problem? You design your research. You have to be aware of the unique aspects of your work. You look at the data, the results, and you have to be aware of the future developments and the commercial value, okay, of whatever you have and whatever you're going to patent. So for that, you need to be also aware of the patent process. You see, this is a capital intensive process. You have to have the capital to go through the entire patent prosecution process, the patent maintenance, and you have to be aware that you have to have returns after the patent is granted. You have to make it work, all right? Now, this is the entire process. I'm sure you're all familiar with it now. You file for an application, you file a patent application for your invention. There is a publication, there is an examination, the patent can be granted. Okay, it can be rejected if there is a representation. Okay, and if there is a grant, then there can also be an opposition, then opposition proceedings. And each one of these little steps is accompanied by a form and a fee, and you have to go through the entire process. Okay, so let me go back to the here, for example, here I say literature review, awareness of existing knowledge, right? Before you file a patent, so you need to do a patent search. We recommend this very, very strongly so that you know what is it that already exists. Your application should not come back with a lack of novelty or a lack of an inventive step. For this, there are databases which are available for free. The free ones I have listed on the left, which are Google Patents, a SpaceNet, Indian patent search is called InPass, Patent Scope from the WIPO, Patent Lens from Cambria, free patents online. So these are all databases which are available to you in the public domain. And they're very user-friendly. Sometimes we have workshop in the KSCST. Feel free to register and attend those. Familiarize yourselves with this, and this will take you a long way. Further, if you need to have more details and you need visuals and you need to make reports, then there are subscribed databases. A few of them are listed here. Patsier, Questel, Clarivate, Relicura, PatBase, out with Patsier and Relicura are both homegrown, that is Indian made patent databases. They operate on similar principles, just that the subscribed ones look better and are easier to follow. Okay, now when you do a patent search, what you do is you'll go through these questions in your mind. You have to scope your search. Your first step should be to compartmentalize the invention into discrete searchable features by answering these questions. What is the problem that your invention is solving? What is the invention? What does it do? What is the end result? And what are the key elements? So what you will have is you will have a patent superset, patent data superset, in which you will have broad data and narrow data, and you have to identify the relevant set and compare it with your invention. That is how you reiterate, you continuously read and you change your keywords, you change your patent classes, and you keep doing this till you come with an optimal data set. Okay, and then you have the patent filing process. Okay, so for that, we've already spoken of the search, then you have the drafting, and then you have the filing in other countries, right? You, without the first Indian filing, you can go to your other countries or you file in India. So drafting the patent application usually takes 2 to 3 weeks, and you also need to think of which countries you want to file in. Further, you file, whether you want to file a PCT or a national phase, you need to respond to office action, you want to amend your claims, you want to identify the countries where you patent PH and expand in countries of interest. Where is it that you have commercial interest? You respond to the office actions in those countries. You get fast grants and you file more. You again respond to office actions, quickly get grants, file divisional continuations, improvements, and maximize the portfolio. So generally, it takes 1 to 4 years from the application file to grant of application. This was the filing process. You have to also be aware of what are your duties. Patentee's duties, duty to disclose. You should mention in your background, what is it that already exists? What is it that you already know? What is it that you're building on? Okay. And you have to respond to and clear objections which come from the patent office. Usually after a first filing, there is a first examination report which comes. You have to answer all those questions, and that will, expedite. The quicker you do it, the quicker they will, process the examiners will process your application. You also need to request for examination. Unless you fill that form and unless you make that request, your patent will not go for examination. So it is your duty to request for an examination. And of course, you have to pay the statutory fees. These are the patentee's duties. And what are your rights? You have the right to use, exploit, and enjoy the patent. How? Because it's a negative right. It is a negative right. It prevents others from making, using, and selling. So that way, indirectly, gives you the right to use, exploit, enjoy the patent. Okay, then once you have that, then you have the right to grant license. You can have licenses, as I already mentioned, exclusive or non-exclusive, and that's how you make your money. You can sue another party for infringement. If somebody is treading on your territory, on that what you have filed as an application, you have the right to sue. There are due processes in the patent office for this. There are forms there, and the examiners are well versed with the technology. You put down your, your argument, and you claim your right over here. You also have the right to abandon or surrender. When do you do this? When you already know that this is enough. This is all you needed to do. You don't need to proceed any further. And once you abandon or you surrender, that application already comes into the public domain, right? And anybody can make, use, or sell it. Okay. Another thing which is very important, I thought I would bring it up here, is language. Okay, there are many things which are in patentees, which is a specific kind of language, since patents are techno-legal documents. It's not only the technology, it's also the legalities. So here I have something from Alice in Wonderland, where Humpty Dumpty says, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less. But what happens when it is a question of language, right? We have so many regional languages. Our official languages are English and Hindi. There is a provision, and I was very fortunate to, from Shri Sharan Gowda of the Indian Patent Office in Chennai. He shared with me a patent in Hindi, which is embedded here, which unfortunately I'm unable to open now, but it is there, and but very, very rare that a patent is filed in Hindi. But you see, the point I'm trying to make is, if you think in your own mother tongue, you'll probably have more clarity about your invention, about what you think is yours, right? So put it down and then think of filing. Okay, the facilities are there, but they are not made use of. We can think of, if it is Hindi, it is possible, right? Regional languages, we have still not reached the patent office, but have your thought processes very, very clear. Don't try to think in English if it is a problem, right? If you are clear about what you want in your mother tongue, use your mother tongue to draft, to write it down, and then it will be easy to translate. There's nothing to be shy about it. We have barriers, we have problems, and this is a foreign game. We are learning it. We are learning the rules of the game. Once we learn the rules of the game, we'll be able to win it. So now, just for an example, I have this Chinese company, Huawei, right? They started their patent filings, and they are the top filers, okay? And they started in 1995, and they are right on top of the charts. How? It all began in Chinese, okay? They have their abstracts in English. We can have translations, since now we have Google Translate and Weibo Translate and many machine translation tools. We can look at the technology, but look at where they are. They're really, really on top of the charts. Okay, so all over the world, not just in China. Okay, and what is comparing with India? Where are we? So the good news is, although always what was filed in the Indian Patent Office was a foreign patent, a multinational trying to enter the Indian jurisdiction. Today, if you look at the blue line, you can see the spike. It's going up, right? So we have made it like our domestic filings are increasing. So that's something to be happy about, something to be proud about. Okay, so now it's not always about money. There is a provision called compulsory license. Okay, it's an official permission or a permit to provide provide this this mechanism. What does it do? It provides that the owner of a patent licenses the use of their rights against payment either set by law or determined through some form of adjudication or arbitration. Now, regarding the patent, it's sections 84 and 92. It pertains to the grant of compulsory license. It prevents the abuse of patent as a monopoly. It makes a way for commercial exploitation of the patented invention by an interested person. It addresses the public health concern in India. Okay, so here are the sections. Section 92, it is a special provision for compulsory license on notification by the central government, and any person interested can make an application to the controller. And section 84, after 3 years of sealing of a patent, the grounds are the reasonable requirements of the public with respect to the patented invention has not been satisfied. I did mention something about Form 27, that it has to be worked. Not only it has to be worked, there has to be this point also taken into consideration. Reasonable requirement of the public with respect to the patented invention has not been satisfied. Patented inventions not available to the public at reasonable price. Patented invention is not worked in the territory of India. So then a compulsory license can be applied. Okay, then there is the Bolar exception. This is also something very important in our context. The grant of a patent for an invention, it confers on the patentee or the patent owner, where the subject matter of the patent is a product, the exclusive right to prevent third parties. Okay, so this is the negative right for a period of 20 years from the date of filing the patent application in that country. However, once the term expires, the protected invention falls into the public domain. So anybody is free to use it, right? Now, pharmaceutical products cannot be manufactured and marketed without the prior authorization of the competent regulatory authority. So let us say a particular drug is going to expire next year. You can get permission under this exception that you start researching on that. The time taken for the grant of such approval varies from country to country. And so if a producer of a generic or a similar version is bound to wait until the final day of the patent term covering a pharmaceutical product, the patentee of the expired patents will continue to enjoy additional period of monopoly because the generic version will take time to come. So the interface between the regulations for manufacturing, marketing, approval of medicines and patent law justifies the need for which has been termed the Bolar exceptions. We use this in our country. We are leaders in drugs, in generic drugs, and we are very proud of that. So now, finally, this is my last slide. What is the message that I want to get across? This is, first of all, include patent as one of the key information source when in review phase. Include IP awareness in research and design. Link research to real-world products and solutions. Differentiate between basic science research versus implementation research. And every small improvement counts. It is not only the big outcome. Consider options between publish or patent. It all depends on you. What is your budget? What are the returns you are going to see? Yeah. And build technologies which can be utilized in real world application. And that's it from me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. So if there are any questions, a couple of questions can be posted. So what will be the fees for grant?
Okay, so fees, it's not a fee for grant. It is the entire patent prosecution process, patent filing. There are forms and fees. You go to the Indian Patent Office. There is a section on forms and fees. Just look at it. What step do you want to look at? Patent grant, it is not a consolidated amount. There are many steps in the patent prosecution process, and each step constitutes a form and a fee.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So I think that was the only question posted in the chat box. So if anything else, probably communication through email can be done.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. In this webinar, the last speaker we have with us today is Mr. Vivekanand Sagar. He's a patent attorney and a consultant in Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology in our IP cell. So with this brief introduction, I request Vivek sir to take over the session on copyright process and protection. Over to you, Vivek sir.
Hello.
It's audible, but it's echoing. On mute. Maybe in another couple of minutes, we could able to.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Can I start, Priyanka ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Actually, I was just waiting. I thought you would share a screen.
Yeah, I'll share my screen as well. Yes.
Yes, sir.
I have a PPT.
Yes, we can see your screen, so.
Okay, madam. I'll just make it full screen. Yes. It's a great opportunity for me to be part of this particular program. I would like to thank KSCST for providing me this particular opportunity. And copyrights, like from morning we have been hearing about various tools of intellectual property rights, from patents, copyright, from patents, trademark, trade secrets, and initiative by various agencies like Cpam and PIC KSCST on promoting intellectual property rights and creating awareness about intellectual property rights, etc. So in this context, I will be discussing about copyrights. So is it in a full screen, madam?
No, sir. It's in the first page of the PPT, not in the presentation mode.
Oh, 1 second. Is this fine now?
Yeah, you can go to presentation mode now, but I couldn't see presentation.
Yes.
No.
Still no?
No. I think it's okay. Vivek,
It's okay. I'll proceed. Yeah. When we say copyrights, it's a expression of an idea. When you say patents, it is about protecting the functional feature of an invention, such as the process of extraction of oil from a neem seed. So the process of extraction, or a process or a device which is used for a heart surgery, a device which is used for an agricultural activity, a product per se which is used as a medicine. So this is for its functional feature of the invention. But when compared to copyrights, it's altogether a different story. What is that? I'll just go to my second slide. Hope you are able to see my slide. And I would also like to have some kind of chat answers in my inbox. Okay, chat box. Okay. Can anyone identify what is this pictures which is coming up in the slide? Please. Can I have some response, please? In the chat box, please. What do you see in this picture? Ravi Verma painting. Ravi Verma's painting. Yes, Mr. Vinay, Manjunath, Mr. Babu. Yeah, you are right. You're right. When you say a painting of a Ravi Verma specifically, how were you able to identify and what made you to think that this belongs to Mr. Ravi Verma? Some answers, please. Why did you say these paintings are belonging to Ravi Verma? What is this actually showcasing? One is the Shakuntala and another one is with a white swan. Okay. Shakuntala, you must have heard about. When you say Shakuntala, then we reminder of, what do you say, Kalidasa, who was a creator of this particular Abhinava Shakuntala. So you must have also seen Dr. Rajkumar's movie, wherein there was one specific requirement or question which was posed to the entire kingdom, that Kamale kamalotpattihi shruyate nachadrushyate bale tavamukam boje drushtamindi varadvayi. What do you mean by this? This is a Sanskrit verses which they have created to understand about. There's a question like Kamale kamalotpattihi. What do you mean by Kamale kamalotpattihi? Means there is a beautiful Kamala and inside that there is one Kamala. What is that? It is a description of a beautiful face of a woman. That is, her face itself is like a beautiful Kamala and her eyes acts as another Kamala within a Kamala. So this is what an entire context of understanding the expression of an idea of an author. The copyright protects the expression of an idea of an author. Okay. It may be in the form of painting. It may be in the form of literary work, such as all our professors, students who comes up with a lot of research works in the form of putting all their research into a literary work. For example, you write an essay, you write a project work, you write a research work, a book, a article to be published in various journals, or a chapter in a book, etc. All these expression of your idea will be protected under copyrights. Copyright does not have a greatest or any minimum standard of protection. Okay, you write anything, dear sir and madam. You write any story, you write any lecture, you give any lecture, you make an exhibition of your product and make a video out of it. You take a picture of a sun, you take a picture of anything, will all be encompassed under the copyright ambit, under the Protection of Copyright Act. Okay, so the basically, what does the copyright protects? Copyright protects an expression of an idea and not an idea per se. For example, you know about, can anyone specify about a few types of Ramayana? Can anyone say about few types of Ramayana? Mr. Babu was telling uniqueness, dynamism. It's really a very good informative webinar. That's it. Okay. Fine, Jay. Yes, Mr. Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana. Yes, Mr. Babu. Anyone else? Mr. Syed, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Jairam. Some more types of Ramayana, please. Mulla Ramayana. Okay. Ananda Ramayana. Very good. Kuvempu Ramayana. Very good. Shri Ramayana Darshanam. See, there are many types of Ramayana, right? Are all these Ramayana gets copyright protected? Yes or no is my question. Are all these types of Ramayana is protected under copyright? Yes or no? Like Valmiki Ramayana, Bala Ramayana, Tulsi Ramayana, Shri Ramayana Darshanam by Mr. Kuvempu, and Ananda Ramayana, so many things. Does all these person who created the work, will they get copyright protection? Is a question. Answers, please. Yes or no? Simple answers. Yes or no? Manjunath says no. Anyone else? Lalita madam says yes. And Dr. Aisha says yes. Narayana says yes. Narendra says yes. Narendra Kumar sir. Yeah. Sayed says yes. Wonderful. That's really good. So you make a study on oil, you make a study on climate change, you make a study on heavy rainfall, which is happening in Bangalore and many other places, and its result out of it. If I write an article on heavy rainfall and its effect, and you also write an article on heavy rainfall in Bangalore and its effect, does both of our work, articles, will get copyright protection or not? Will it get copyright protection or not? We have also done a study on electrical work. I have also done a study on electrical work. We have done a mechanical related research. I have also done a mechanical related research on a specific engine. Both have written article on the same. Do we get a copyright? Yes or no? Jairam says no. Then Syed, what do you say? Narendra Kumar says yes, with uniqueness. Dr. Prakash sir says yes. Vidya madam says yes. Vikram says yes. Syed also says yes. Dear sir and madam, that is exactly what we need to understand here. What is a specific copyright? Copyright protects the expression of an idea and not the idea. Idea of Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, okay, where Sita was kidnapped by Ravana and she was brought back saved by a huge chunk of our Vanaras, etc., etc. This is a story, sir. It's an idea of a story. Now I express in my own way. There is a it's raining in Bangalore. I write in my own way its effect. You write your own way the effects. Hence, both persons or any number of people who writes an article or research, and their expression will be different. And copyright protects the expression of an idea only. Okay, this is a basic definition which we have to understand. What is the requirement of a copyright? Like, unlike patents, you heard about novelty, non-obviousness, industrial applicability. But what is there in the copyright? Copyright requires only two major aspects. One, it should be original. Now, to define what is originality, there was a big PhD thesis done. What is original? Some answers, please, in my chat box. Each other aspects is different and each others are thinking a difference. Very good, Lalita madam. One of the differentiation between two works. But yes, but uniqueness. Very good. NRDMS technical officers have been responding. Very good. Wonderful for your active participation. So the point of reference here is that original means something which is new. New means what? Something which is not copied. Simple. I should not copy the present research paper which I am doing. I did not copy from the earlier person. What do you mean by copy once again? First time research. First time research. Okay, Narendra Kumar sir, but there is little more we have to understand about it. I will explain to you in the due course of my slides. Okay, let me first proceed further. As I said, two requirements. One, it should be original. Second, it should be expressed in a tangible mode. It's very simple. Express means what? I should have put my drawing on paper. I should have written my article on my paper or in the soft copy, like I should have printed. I should have written on a Word document in a PDF and I should have sent it to someone else. Okay. Or if there is a picture, I should have taken the picture and I should have had the negatives or the photos of the same in my system or any place. If I have done a video, then I should have a video on my hand. It should be expressed in tangible form. Originality is our major issue. I'll address that. Now understanding about various expression I did. But what about, sir, what does this copyright gives you written? Sir, we have written so much of articles, so much of things. Did you people by writing article, etc., did anyone get money? Any commercial returns, any royalty out of your research work or out of your papers? Did anyone get royalty out of your copyrighted work? Yes or no? Vijay Kumar sir has given a long, he's expressing his happiness. Very good. Yes, Prakash, Dr. Prakash, sir, absolutely, you should be getting, because doctor, yes, Aparna, Genesis or authentic. Okay, no, I'm speaking about royalty for your research work. Did anyone get a royalty for your research work? That is my question. Dr. Prakash has received royalty for his research work. Anyone else? Okay, maybe they are in the process to get it, or to get it, we need to more put in more hard work into it. I feel here is a girl. Here was a lady. Must have known about this. What do you say? J.K. Rowling's, right? J.K. Rowling's was once upon a time a writer, where you can see in the below, she wrote the first book as an unemployed single mother living on welfare. That was her condition when she wrote her books on what? What was her famous book? Answers in the chat box. J.K. Rowling's famous book is what? Very good. Very good, Isha. Harry Potter. When she wrote this book and gave it to the publisher throwed and said, who the hell will read your 5 volumes of your Harry Potter? Then, today you see, sir, she is a $1 billion worth lady. Okay, her records have been broken. 500 million copies of her work is being sold in the year 1997 only. 500 million copies of work. Her book is being transformed into a movie in hundreds of languages. Her book is being translated in hundreds of languages and made copies in thousands of or millions and billions. And her characters today are fetching a huge amount of royalty to her. She's a big philanthropist as well. And how was this possible? This is possible because of the copyright. The copyright gave the power to protect her work for the authorship from being copyright infringing her on copyrighted work. Okay, and a one single frictious fantasy story today is earning huge amount of royalty, right? A single frictious story, a fantasy, is giving her billions of or millions of rupees to her, and she's been giving away this huge amount of billions of money, which she might have felt that should not be required to them, and she's been giving out on charity. So if at all, if you want to be on charity, first you should make money. And the money or the commercial returns can be secured by intellectual property, intellectual output of your intellectual properties and protecting it and effectively commercializing it. And that is what we are in the process of. We have already attained the level of understanding the intellectual property rights. The phase is done. Next, we are already in the fast moving pace of filing of intellectual property rights, getting protected our intellectual property rights. And the next step we are entering into is getting returns on our investment, getting returns on our intellectual investments. So it's a transformation from Saraswati to Lakshmi. I hope you all understand, right? Many of my well-wishers keep on saying, until and unless your intellectual property or your knowledge is converted, if it is not converted, then knowledge is what? But if you convert your knowledge into an economics, into a capital, then it is called as success. Many a times, many of people have told. However, this is a perspective. It's dependent upon how you take it. Okay? So she is a live example, sir. A frictious story is getting billions of dollars to her is not a joke. Okay? Of course, a lot of hard work, etc., etc. And one of the component is the production of copyrights. And this is because of copyrights. It's a huge amount of royalty which comes out of it. Yes. Now, another few quick questions from my side. Yes. Can you quickly tell me what is there on my slide? Dr. Prakash sir? Yeah, getting royalty also depends on publishers and level of copyright transfers. Very good, sir. Correct. Absolutely. It's painting. Very good. Any other answers, please? Kindly do not repeat the answer. You should come out with the new answers. Okay. What do you see? It's an art. Very good. Mr. Babu says artistic, abstract art. Very good. Lakshmi Amma says, sir, it's an image. Then that's it. Okay, let me go further. It's a digital art. Okay. What is it? What do you see here? Rainbow art, creativity, IP. Very good, Aparna. Wonderful. You started understanding, you're finding it IP. So the perfect, after this particular program, the lot of things which will be revolving in your mind, and the ideas which you take out of this particular program, you will start implementing in various places and say, hey, this is a IP. Hey, this is a patent. This can be a copyright. This can be a trademark. This is the trademark, and this is what it is. So like that, you should start transforming the knowledge which you accrue from this particular program and implement it in your day-to-day life. Okay. Yes. So now you said it's an art, portrait. Okay, done. Next. Yeah. Now let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of what happened here. Yes. This was about a movie. What is this movie called as? There was a movie called as, in Bollywood, a Reservoir Dogs. What is this Reservoir Dogs? Reservoir Dogs was a movie in 1992. Okay. A Bollywood movie wherein a group of gangsters go and rob a bank. A group of gangsters go and rob a bank, and they easily come out of the bank, and the story is about how to rob a bank without getting caught. The same in the Hollywood, in the Bollywood expression in Kante. Sorry, it was a Hollywood and Bollywood. Kante movie was like this. What was that? You can find Amitabh Bachchan and few other stars over here. Okay, they also go to a bank, rob a bank, and get out of it. Okay, without getting caught. Now the question is this Kante a copy of a Reservoir Dogs 1992? Yes or no answers in my chat box, please. Yes or no answers in my chat box. Lakshmi says, Mr. Reddy, Vikram, everyone says yes. Dr. Prakash also says yes. Okay, fine. Okay, I got it. Can you tell me about this? Is there anything which is copied here? The dangerous Ishq and the Hollywood movie. Yes, copied? Okay. What about this? A Badlapur movie and Inception. A Hollywood and flick. Inception. Yes and no. Fine. What about this? This will be a very funny one. A Portugal music album which was done in the year 1973. And you know this, Amir Khan's PK. Poster. Do you find anything which is copied here? Answers in the chat box, please. Reddy says yes. Vikram says yes. Okay. Lakshmi Amma says yes. Vidya says no. Okay. What about this? Ravan and the Batsman Begins. Yes, the concept. Very good. Very good. What about this? Batman and the Ravan. Shah Rukh Khan at the one place. Mausam and the Titanic. What do you find here? Poster. the king, author, and the his. Aitras and the graduate. What about this? Rowdy Rathod and the replacement killer. You have all been specifying and telling that this is copy or not copy. But as I said, we should understand little more about what is copyright, and then you should have applied what test to understand about copyright infringement, or whether it amounts to copyright infringement or not, or is it a fair use? What is the copyright? Copyright protects creativity of author. For example, you write an artist, you write anything, your artistic work, musical work, film recording, filmmaking, etc. As I said earlier, copyright protects the expression of an idea and not idea. Now let us understand, we got the principle, but let us understand what happened in this particular case in Supreme Court. It was about R.J. Anand versus Deluxe Film. What was this movie? It's a very good story. You should all hear it to me very carefully, because you have to answer what you have to pick up some answers from this, okay? And you have to answer my question. R.J. Anand was a play director. There was a play done about a Gujarati and a Madrasi, a Gujarati boy and a Madrasi girl. They meet at Delhi during their studies in engineering. They fall in love and they say the same to their parents, and parents disagree for their marriage. For this disagreement of their marriage, they still go ahead and marry. After their marriage, what happens? The parents, once again, because they have a child, and then once again parents come together, and there was little disturbance and differences with the family members, etc. And then they reunited. This was a play. Now this was seen by the director of Deluxe Film, and Deluxe Film producer, when he saw this particular play, he thought, hey, come on, R.J. Anand, this is a very good play. Can we make it out of a movie? And after a few days before the negotiation could finalize, what happened? That there was a New Delhi movie. A New Delhi movie came into picture. What did this New Delhi movie say? The New Delhi movie was a Rajasthani boy and a Bengali girl. A Rajasthani boy and a Bengali girl meets at Delhi. They fall in love. Once again, disagreement with their parents. They will not accept the marriage. They have a child. Then they have a child, and then family comes together. This was a movie in the New Delhi movie. The earlier drama was Hum Hindustani, and the second one was the New Delhi. Now tell me, my dear sir and madam, is there a copyright copy from, is the New Delhi a copy of the Hum Hindustani? This is a question. Is it copy or not? Yes, go ahead. Mr. Gopal, Dr. Prakash sir. Prakash sir says yes. Santosh, Babu sir, where are you? Vidya madam says yes. Babu sir. Lakshmi Amma madam, where are you? Narendra Kumar sir. Dhanush Reddy says yes. Vikram says yes. Where is Babu? Mr. Babu sir. Vikram says yes. Okay, most of them says yes. Planning officer says yes. Some Jampalli electronics engineering, taking the time constraint, might be not be a copy. It is a common story to be interpreted. Lalita madam says no, not very sure. Very good, Mr. Babu sir. Thank you very much. I was, no, please don't leave us in the between, huh? Please respond. So the point of reference is Now, keeping this particular story aside, one more example I would like to take. Story has been stolen and maybe have presented in a different mode. So Prakash sir has given an analysis. He says the story has been stolen. The story has been stolen and may have been presented in a different mode. Quickly, I will tell one example. And then come back to the what did Supreme Court decided on whether this was a copyright infringement or not, or what did the court analyze before coming to a conclusion, how Dr. Prakash sir gave his analysis in a similar way. First, I will tell you the example and I will come to the principle of the court. What did they say? The next example is, I am also studying, I made a research on extraction of oil from neem seed. Dr. Prakash sir also made a research on the extraction of oil from a neem seed for using as a biodiesel in a vehicle. Okay, both are doing research on the same area. Now, in my research, of course, I have an title of my invention research. I have an abstract. I have an introduction. I make a comparative study. I will tell you about my limitations of my study, importance of my study, and then I start. Go to the literature review. I did all my literature review. Then I came back to analysis, what already other people have done. After analysis, I also make an experiment in my laboratory and see in 100 kg of neem oil, I was able to extract 40 liters of oil. But Dr. Prakash sir extracted 80 liters of oil in his research. Now, we both did. And I wrote my results and I made a conclusion. I gave my bibliography. I gave my research process, everything. Now tell me, my dear sir and madam, is my title of the invention copied from Mr. Prakash, Dr. Prakash sir? Yes or no? Plagiarism? No. Let us not go to plagiarism. Plagiarism is a different one. I'll come back to that. But tell me, did I copy the title of the invention? Is it a copy or not? Yes. Anyone else? Okay. What about my abstract? Abstract of my paper. Introduction of my paper. Scope of my paper. Usefulness of my paper. Literature review of my paper. Is it a copy? These are already there. And if I have given, as Dr. Prakash sir said, if I have given reference that Mr. Prakash Dr. Prakash sir has said like that in his paper, but in my research it is coming like this. But now tell me, what is the original? I was telling you, I was making you to understand the originality of my paper. Is my title original? Is my introduction original? Is my scope original? Is my literature review original? All are dependent on other sources and I have come to one. But what is original in my paper? Tell me, sir, what is original in my paper? Vijay Lakshmi madam, Arun Kumar, what is original in my paper? Very good, Mr. Babu sir. Very good. A big round of applause from my side. Finding, analysis, wonderful. One more portion of my paper, which is one important portion of my paper. What is original in my paper? Results. Very good. Justification, conclusion, recommendation. Very good. Not objectives. Objectives is not original. Results are original. Qualitative. Very good, Mr. Syed. Reference. No, references are not original. No, references are not original. The result portion. How I was able to, how in Dr. Prakash sir, where he extracted 80 liters of oil, in what methodology he was able to achieve 80 liter. That is original. Testing is original. Very good, Vijay Lakshmi, Professor Vijay Lakshmi. Results and testing is a original portion of your paper, and that is protected under copyright. Okay. absolutely like this. I just wanted to, because I know you're all teachers and students, if you apply this principle, it will be easy for here afterwards. You can tell if someone has copied your work or not. Or before you take someone else's work, you should also be very cautious whether, sir, I did not take entire his 50 pages or 100 pages of Dr. Prakash sir's. I did not take entire his work, but I just took the result portion, which is 2-page. Is it copy? Yes or no? I did not take introduction, abstract, everything. I did not take anything. I just took only 2-page. Yes, very good. And the court relied on the same aspect. What is this? Court said that there can be no copyright in idea of extraction of oil from neem seed, idea of Gujarati boy and a Madrasi girl, Rajasthani boy and a Bengali girl meeting at a place, and their love story, no copyright protection. It's an idea. Subject matter, theme, plot, history. What is history? I also make a movie out of Indian freedom struggle, Bhagat Singh, the story of Bhagat Singh, story at Mahatma Gandhi ji. I also write a story, sir. I also make a movie out of it. Shouldn't I get a copyright protection? And can I stop others from, hey, no, Bhagat Singh story, I have made a movie. No one should copy. I cannot sell because it is no idea, no protection on history, legend, facts. What is a fact? Pulwama blast. There was a disaster which happened. And can you say, no, I have made a movie out of Pulwama blast and no one should make a movie out of it? No, you cannot say like that.
Excuse me, sir. Is that okay to conclude in another 2 minutes?
Yeah. How much minutes?
Another 2 minutes.
Done. Yeah. This is an important story. I'll conclude. Yeah.
Yes.
So the theme, the basic principle which the court said is that violation of a copyright in such case is confined only to the form, the manner, and the arrangement and expression of idea, okay, of an author. So where the same idea is being developed, myself and Prakash sir both have made a research on oil seed, then extraction of oil from a neem seed, then the idea is being developed in a different manner. It is manifested that the source being the common. What is the source being the common? Neem seed is a common one. Similarities are bound to occur. Both are able to extract oil from it. That is a similarity are bound to occur. Even in the Rajasthani and Bengali and Gujarati and Madrasi, what is similarity? The difference of opinion, linguistic differences, regional differences, language differences are all common to occur. Okay, so these are common to occur. Then the court should determine whether the similarities are fundamental or substantial aspect of mode of expression is copied or not. So what I have to test? The test is only with respect to the fundamental and substantial aspect. What is your fundamental and substantial aspect of your paper? The result portion, testing portion, conclusion portion is your substantial portion. If someone copies that, then that amounts to an infringement. Otherwise, it's not an infringement. So this is how we understand about copyright, its idea and expression, its originality, what amount to infringement or not. And if you take an idea of a research of a study, it is not a copyright infringement. But that does not mean that you have not taken the entire work, but only the core research, only the core aspect if you have taken, then it becomes a infringement. And also for fair use, once again, if you are using the said work only for educational purposes, etc., will not amount to copyright infringement. So copyright filing, the process is a very simple process. You just need to upload your literary work and pay 500 rupees for your research work, simply putting your name, age, address, and communication address and work which you have done, and you get copyright registered via online. You did not take any assistance of any advocate or anything, and you will get the copyright registered and certificate will be granted. From KSCST, we have registered a lot of copyrights, trademarks with no fees from any individuals or the industry persons or the faculties or students. So this is what we have done in large and catering the needs of various people. So with that, I would like to, for the want of time and other things, I would like to thank all the audience who have been patiently listening to my this a small discussion on copyright and its process and its basic principles of copyright. And thank you very much, everyone. I would like to thank Dr. Prakash, Babu, and Mr. Kiran, Lakshmi Amma, and many other Professor Lakshmi, Vijay Lakshmi, everyone for their patient and kind hearing and responding to all our questions. And I would like to thank the KSCST organizers for providing me this opportunity. Thank you once again, and over to you, madam.
Thank you, Vivek sir, for being with us today. So by this, we have reached the end of the session. I request our project associate from KSCST, Mr. Nagarjun, to give a vote of thanks. Over to you, Nagarjun. Nagarjun, I think you can unmute. Nagarjun?
Yes, madam. Yeah. Okay. On behalf of KCST, it's an immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for this program. I think through this Vigyan Utsav programs, you have all been interacted with a lot of speakers, and you have also observed their PPTs, presentations, and you have also taken some of the inputs where the different S&T has been involved through these programs, I believe, I hope. And I thank especially Professor Dr. Shanagoda sir, Assistant Controller of Patents and Designs from Patent Office, who has given insights on the NIBAM program and also the Patent Office perspective. And also I thank Ms. Aruna Triwari from Cpam, where she expressed the various facilities that has been proposed by Cpam in development and creation of IP ecosystem in the country. I also thank Mr. Dr. M.J. Kodanraman for enlightening us with the IPR, cyber law, and trademark infringements. And also I thank Dr. Sasha Padmanabhan, who elaborated us with the patents and its protection with different case studies related to biotech and other IPR issues. I also thank our beloved Hemant sir for encouraging us to conduct these programs continuously throughout the year long. But not the least, we thank the DST for organizing such a wonderful event through this Atmanirbhar Bharat program. Finally, I thank the audience today. There are a lot of interactions and their interest in attending this program continuously. And I thank Mr. Vivekanand Sagar, who is our colleague and a very interactive person. He makes sessions very interactive all the time. And it was very kind enough to work with him. Finally, I thank the Vigyan Utsav team of KCST for conducting these programs in a good way and reaching to large extent people in the state of Karnataka. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you for all the participants over here. The link for the certificate has been provided in the chat box. So kindly mark your attendance. So the certificate will be provided for those who was here for minimum of 3 sessions. So for those who are not here for minimum 3 sessions, the certificates will not be provided. So kindly fill the form before signing out. So thank you all for your participation.
Participants kindly click the link and register for the certificates. Okay. I forgot to mention we have some Kiran IPR candidates also in the program, and also our IP firms also, and also we have the IPR coordinators. We thank their support and kind encouragement in involving in all our IPR programs. Thank you, one and all.